welcome back, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for coming back on. This is EJ Brooks, part 2. Last time you were on, we talked about wrestling. This time you're on, spoiler warning, we're going to be talking a little bit more wrestling.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
First and foremost, brother, I want to say congratulations. You had a state champion last year. And now, for those that don't know, you coach out of Althoff, Illinois. Yeah. I coach out of Afton, Missouri. So, like, when I say state, I mean the Illinois state championship versus the Missouri one. Mm-hmm. But you had a state champion this previous year. Congratulations. I think this is, what, your second? Or how many state champions have you had now? Because you had one, the heavyweight, not too long ago.
So my second at this school, my third overall.
Overall?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations. How many years have you been coaching?
I want to say, man, I don't even want to. I'm going to just say how many years I've been a head coach. I've been a head coach for 8 years now. I just finished my eighth season. If I say how many years total I've been coaching.
It's going to age you a little bit.
I'm like, man, I don't even like talking about it. I'll just say I've been coaching since the 2009-2010 school year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
You all know what grade I was in when you were coaching?
What's that?
I was a sophomore in high school, or junior in high school, 2010,
yeah.
2009, 2010? Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, man.
You actually shared that photo with me, and I'm thinking about posting it like on this video.
I saw it. You know how I found it? I didn't realize all my photos were on Google.
Like Google Docs?
Like not Google
like
Docs.
Google Drive.
Google Drive, yeah. And I went through it, and I had like thousands of photos that I had to get rid of. I was like, man, so I was going through it. And I was like, oh man, look at this one. Oh, that's Arion. I was like, he gonna like this one, so I sent it to you.
Yeah, dude, when you sent that to me, it kind of was like a flashback, and it's kind of crazy, how much time. So for those that don't know, when I met you was at St. Charles MMA, and at the time you were fighting for Bellator. I remember when I first got to St. Charles MMA, like the gym was a buzz because you had Lance Benoist in the UFC, you had Alp and Sampo that were doing their thing. I think they had just gotten signed to the UFC. Mm-hmm. You were fighting in Bellator, and the gym was just like...
We also had Matt Ricehouse's Strike Force.
Forgive me, Matt Ricehouse's. Yeah. And you had like a bunch of guys from like other gyms that would come in. Like I remember Alex White, Pat Smith would bring the pit guys over.
Yeah.
So like Dakota Bush, who's in PFL now. You had Alex White who fought in the UFC. Mm-hmm. You had Jake Collier come down. I remember just like...
There was a who's who of names.
Yeah.
Like,
it was,
and we're forgetting people, I'm proud.
Yeah, and forgive me if I haven't called you. Zach Freeman, you know what I mean? Like, who also fought for Bellator, beat Aaron Pico. And
knocked out Aaron Pico, yeah.
Technically knocked him out, then subbed him. Like, unconscious. Yeah. At Madison Square Garden. Wild.
Huge. Made ESPN.
I need to have him on the podcast one. Now that I'm thinking about that.
He's down in Florida.
Yeah, I know that he moved. You know he's crushing it, like, outside of fighting.
Yeah, we talk.
Yeah. Zach, God bless. Good for him, man.
Yeah. See him on the golf course, living his best life. Yeah, I'm like, all right, man.
Different world.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, to take it a step back, like how I met you was at St. Charles MMA, and at that time specifically, I was young. Like I was maybe like a 5-0 amateur, and there was a multitude of fighters that were way more experienced, way more proficient, and like I want to say kind of like what's the right word to describe it? Like kind of laying the foundation. Like before I went to St. Charles MMA, I thought I could maybe do something in fighting. But then being around everybody that was doing something in fighting made it like more achievable, or like I could actually see it. Because like all these guys were getting ready for fights at the highest stage, and I was like, holy shit.
And you training with them,
and they're on the mats with me.
And stuff like that, yeah.
It was very inspirational. And when you sent me that photo, I was like, holy shit. I just remember how young I was when I first got there. So, you know, thanks for any of the rounds you gave me, and appreciate you taking me down memory lane.
You got it.
But so to go back to the conversation, congratulations, you had another state champion. Talk to me about this year. Was it different from previous years? Did you try anything different? Like, what was the culmination of the efforts?
So we had one state champ. I had 5 total guys go to the state tournament.
Qualify.
And 3 other guys placed. 2 took 4th, and 1 took 3rd.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Congratulations, damn.
Thanks, man.
5 qualifiers, 4 medalists?
Yeah, and that's on the boys' side, because I also had a girl qualify, and she was a match away from placing. I feel like she should have placed, but she ended up getting sick like towards the end of the season. Like literally, a lot of people don't even know she was in the hospital 2 days before regionals. Like I was fighting for her to get the number 1 seed because I didn't want her to have anybody tough on her side. You know, because I knew she like literally was discharged from the hospital the night before regionals. Nobody knew. and she wrestled 115, and she weighed in at 110 pounds.
Do you guys do regionals and then districts? Like, how does it work in Illinois?
We don't have a district. We
So
do regional, sectionals, state.
Got you. Okay.
Okay, so what you guys call districts, I think is our sectionals.
is like your sectionals.
Yeah.
Okay. So wow, you guys have so many districts that you have to spread it out between 2 different tournaments.
Yeah. So girl did well individually, and we had 2 other girls on the team. They did pretty decent. Then with my boys, like I said, I had 5 state qualifiers. I think we had like 11 or 12 go to sectionals, and then other 11 and 12, I think, like I said, 5 went to state. 4 of those guys placed. 3 of those placers are coming back, including the other qualifiers. So the only person that's not coming back is the state champ. And then I had 2 other freshmen who just barely didn't go to state.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to place next year. They're going to go
That fast?
Yeah. Like I said, they should have went to. We have the toughest. I think we have the toughest sectionals for our class in Illinois. So like, if you make it out of our sectional, you're probably placing. Okay. So my 2 kids, they lost to seniors and they were freshmen. To not go.
Yeah.
And I just think next year they're gonna be sophomores, experienced. They put in the work right now. I see them placing. So.
Do you guys have like a little league program and like a feeder league, or these kids that are coming in are they doing a lot of year-round wrestling? Are these freshmen, for instance, did they walk on the mat for the first time with you?
Definitely not.
Or did they come with some experience?
No, okay. So 2 of the freshmen that I'm talking about, they've known me since they started wrestling. Okay, so even though because my school's a private school, so we don't technically have a feeder program. Okay, so but
Why? Because you can't have one?
I mean, we can, we just don't have one.
Gotcha. Okay. I just didn't know if there's like a rule.
Yeah, I just got there and I'm still working on stuff. I've only been in the school I'm at for 3 years.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Forgive me.
So, but these 2 freshmen, they're from the school district that I actually teach in, all right? And when I used to coach in that school district, I was a part of the club. So when these kids started wrestling, they remember seeing me as a coach in the program. So when I left, like, they always followed me and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, they've always known me. And even when I was coaching at my previous school, I would still help out in this school district, and these kids like always knew me and stuff like that. So when I went to the private school, the parents were like, hey, we were always going to go private anyway, and you're here, we're going to go. Because if they didn't come to me, they were going to a school called DeSmet in Missouri.
Yeah,
so it was like, hey, we were always going private. We were never going to this public school. Since you're over here, we're going to go there now. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Althoff is like what, like 25, 30 minutes away from us, roughly? From like South City?
Yeah.
About
like
just over the river.
About
ways
35,
away.
40 minutes, yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'm underselling it a little bit.
Belleville, Illinois, right?
Yeah, Belleville, Illinois. Yeah. Sorry, if there's no traffic, like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So so with them, we're trying to build something, and as far as the feeder program, like, how do I get kids? Because everybody likes to say, especially my haters, they love to say, oh, he's only winning because he gets to recruit and kids transfer and this and that. And I'm just like, I'm not recruiting. Like, I look them dead in the face. I'm like, I'm not asking anybody to come here.
Yeah.
But I'm not telling people not to when they ask to come. And for the people that say, oh, I'm only winning because these kids came over. Well, what about when I was winning at the public school, the hood school with no feeder program? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was winning in. What was your excuse then? Oh, he's only winning because he's got athletes.
Are there this is going to sound kind of a weird question, because I have had the exact opposite. Meaning, when I started coaching, we had other schools, especially this year, come up to us and talk highly about how we've changed the program, and how Afton a couple of years ago was like sorry, forgive me for saying this because you were one of the wrestlers, like back when you were a freshman, you know what I mean? That Afton was like a joke of a program. And now we're like in the top 4 of our district regularly. We had 7 state qualifiers last year. And my first medalist, you know what I mean? So
Congratulations, I saw that.
yeah, it was my first. And Toby's like a legit, like, never wrestled
Didn't he
before.
win like overtime or something like that?
Dude, when I tell you,
I saw the video.
like, the craziest 2 matches, though. The match before that, he's getting dog walked. He's losing, like, I think it was like 13-3. Like, I mean, this kid was whipping him. The kid was pinning Toby, like, and Toby was fighting it so hard, he went unconscious. So, like, the guy, like, had a head and arm, and Toby was fighting it so hard that he choked himself out. So Toby's unconscious. I was like, oh shit, like, should I pulling from this match. Toby comes to, and he's like, how much time is on the clock? I was like, 35 seconds. He's like, all right. I was like, I'm not going to take this moment away from him. Turns around, like, reverses the kid to stick him with like 15 seconds left in the match
had to go nuts.
to make it to the blood round. In the blood round is losing like 7-2. And we've been working this reversal from bottom where I was like, hey, if someone's like super strong and they're really top heavy, you could throw your hips over and sit back and basically reverse them because they're committing too high. So like you can kind of reverse the hips. Hits it immediately in like the second period. He's losing, getting dog walked, hits it, sticks the kid. And I mean, I lose my shit because his first round, he won his district. So like his first match was supposed to be like his easiest match. Made a stupid mistake, got caught, got pinned. I mean, he was beating the kid like 12-2, gets caught and pinned. And I'm like, fuck. Now you have to, in order to medal, you have to wrestle all the way through. And he did. And he's coming back next year. And I'm so excited for him. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to hijack this, but it's not about winning. Like if he would have lost the match, but like shown promise, I would have still been happy. But
you saw growth,
not just growth, but to see the cloth from which he was cut. The kid was unconscious. Comes back and he's like, "Did I get pinned?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Are we still wrestling?" I was like, "Yeah." How much time is on the clock? I was like, 35 seconds. He's like, "All right, hold my apple juice." You know what I mean? You can't coach that. Like that's what I was trying to tell Toby. I was like, "Listen, I've seen a lot of competitors, even fighters, you know what I mean? There's something different about guys that are willing to do anything to win. And that is like, I don't want to say it can't be coached. I'm sure it can be, but some guys are born with it. Yeah. And he is. He came in with that mentality. That was nothing to do with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Forgive me.
But
we were talking about
So you're talking about, and you were talking about how,
you have some detractors or some haters, and we have the opposite. That's why this is kind of weird.
You have it now, and that's why I was thinking you have it now. Like once you build consistency, then those guys get to resent you. Now they see you as a threat and competition. Wow. At first, like you said, your team was a joke. Yeah, they weren't worried about you. They probably scheduled you be like, "Hey, this is our senior night." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they're at our district, so if we get the win, we get the seed.
Yeah. So it's like after a while, they get tired of seeing you win. Now they want to beat you. And when I took over this program, when I took over this program, nobody wanted it. Nobody thought that they could do what I'm doing with this program. It's not easy to convince parents to come pay for school. Okay? You got a public school with a decent wrestling program, and it's free. You know what I'm saying? Taxpayer dollars going to everything.
Free.
You know what I'm talking about? Not my school. Not my school. I'm talking about the school.
I know.
Yeah. But then you turn around and you say, okay, drive to school because you don't have free buses.
Have like public transport.
Yeah, you don't have buses.
Yeah.
Pay for lunch and pay about $10,000 to go to school to be a part of this program. Not everybody can do that. So when these coaches get to hating and they're asking like, oh, well, how did they come over there? And I'm just like, these kids could be a part of your program, but they don't want to be coached by you or part of your growth program so bad that they're willing to pay for school. At least $10,000. Ain't nobody going to school for free. How can nobody say? Nobody's going to school for free on my program. I'm speaking about, if they are wrestling for me, they are paying for school. I can't speak about no other program. I don't believe that anybody's not paying for school at that school for any other reason. But I know if they're on my team, they're paying for school.
Is there scholarships for private high school?
Like you can get like academics and stuff like that. I mean, yeah.
I thought that was like exclusively a university thing.
Yeah, like discounts and stuff like that. But there's no athletic scholarships.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like
we have like former alumni that donate and they're sponsor kids. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, you're good, man. This is I'm learning a lot. I didn't know the difference in any of this.
Yeah. So then, like I said, when I took over the program, a lot of coaches, their butts puckered up, you know what I'm saying? Because they realize I'm the type of guy that families are going to trust their kids with. So if you're a huge school, you got 3 guys at every weight, maybe 2. Let's say you got 2 guys at every weight and you don't really care about the kids. You're not a nice coach. You're not even a good coach, but you have a decent program because you have numbers. You got a decent middle school. Maybe there's a kids club in your area that you have nothing to do with. But you're going to keep getting these kids, and you're not going to step down because nobody's going to push you out, and you're going to keep winning mediocrely because nobody in my area, on the Illinois side, like the Metro East area, is killing it. You know, even one of the teams that's winning a regional every freaking year, they're not doing a lot at state consistently.
Yeah.
You know, this year was like the best year they had, you know, at state in a long time.
Southern Illinois versus Northern Illinois.
Yeah, Southern Illinois, Northern. I was just like, okay, good for them. You know,
for those that might not understand what we're talking about, because Northern Illinois has Chicago,
Yeah.
and the metropolitan / city area, you have the number of like just the sheer population density. You know, you have, and what you were saying about like every weight class might have 2 or 3 kids. We have some schools where we have dual meets and they don't have a full lineup.
Right.
They have to give up buys or forfeits on a dual meet.
Yeah.
So it'd be completely different if not only do you have a varsity and a JV, but also like a freshman squad, or just the ability to have your first practice not have to go over single legs and double legs.
Yeah.
Like that's such
which
an
I have to
advantage.
do, and that's what no one gives me credit for. You know, so this is my 3rd year at this school, this private school, and we won back-to-back regional championships. This year we finished in the top 8. We went to dual team state, so we were in the top 8 of the state, and we should have been better. We kind of choked as a team when we got up there. The year before, finished in dual team sectionals.
It's kind of wild that you say that, dude. When you have 5 state qualifiers and 4 medalists, I'm gonna be honest with you.
But that was
80% medal rate.
What I'm saying. That's individual state. See, we do a dual team state.
Forgive me.
It's all good.
I'm just saying,
So,
like,
but like I said,
it's funny that you say that. I would.
It's not funny because
I'm
I'm
jealous.
depressed about it still. You know, but people are like, oh, they only won because they got this kid and that blah blah. There's 14 weight classes. There's 14 weight classes. For you to go to dual team sectionals, you have to win the team regional. Okay, so if I got 6, maybe 7 studs, that's half my lineup. Okay, you know, and I think, let me see, my 106, my 44, 150, 75, 215, and heavyweight 6. 6 out of my 14 starters started in high school. So close to half my lineup started in high school. And I'm not back at the hood public school getting the type of athletes I was getting. So I'm turning Catholic schoolboys, no offense,
into killers.
into wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to talk about the 8 guys that I got that have wrestling experience, and even of the 8 that have wrestling experience, only 6 are studs. So I have 8 dudes in my 14-man lineup that knew how to wrestle before they got to high school. 6 are studs, okay? You know, I'll say 7 are studs. So 7 out of 8 are studs. Then I got 6 other dudes that have to score points at this regional, okay? One of the teams we beat, every kid in your lineup had wrestling experience before high school. So you have 14 kids, whether they studs or not, that knew how to wrestle before they got to high school. Why am I beating you? You don't want to say it's because I'm a better coach. Not to mention, you got 14 kids that knew how to wrestle, and you had about as many studs as I did. Matter of fact, some of your more experienced wrestlers lost to kids on my team that had only started wrestling in high school. You don't want to say it's because I'm a better coach than you. You just want to make the excuse that, oh, you had these many studs. You did too.
When you say the phrase, I'm a better coach than you, what are the variables in which you're measuring to make that statement?
Okay, I'll give a prime
Like
example.
winning? Is winning the
Progress
prime?
of my wrestler. Progress of my wrestlers. The best way I can explain this, I'm going to go back to last season. So not this past season, the year before. I had a kid on my team, and I hate that he quit. He didn't come out this year, you know, family issues.
Variables, man.
Yeah,
That
variables.
sucks.
He didn't come back, but he was super talented. Super talented. We wrestled this school in a duel, and he was getting teched. He ended up getting pinned in a banana split. Ugly.
Yeah,
it was so
for those
bad.
that don't understand, that's a very embarrassing
Booty
way
up
for
in
a
the air
match.
and everything.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
Not fun.
when he got done, and this was in December. This was like mid-December. When we got done, I remember his mom being upset. It was like, oh, I don't like this sport. Blah, blah, blah. I said, your son's really talented. He just don't know anything. He don't come to practice enough. And I was like, he was kind of like an untapped Ben Askren. Like he could do the splits. He was a master of chaos. So I just told him, I was like, look, he's the type of kid, like I can't tell him to do a move. Everything I want him to do in a match, he has to do in practice. We have to drill, because he's just going to go off muscle memory because he just goes. Okay, he doesn't think in matches. And like I said, when he gets into scrambles, he usually comes out on top. So he gets beat up pretty bad by this kid, a kid that's in our regional. Fast forward, I'm watching his progress and I'm seeing him get better. We get to the regional. This kid is the 2 seed that beat him pretty bad, and we have him in the semis. If my kid, who wasn't supposed to places, we have a good shot to steal the regional because we weren't supposed to win the regional that year. He's losing to this kid by 10, and he just starts hitting stuff that we started working on. He ends up beating this kid like 22-19.
Wow.
Takes second in the regional when he wasn't supposed to place. He scored 20 points that he wasn't supposed to score. We won the regional by 5 points. And everyone's like, man, what happened? We killed that kid earlier, blah, blah. And I was just like, I'm a better coach than you. You had, that's just the best example. Like, you had a kid who's wrestled his whole life.
And in 2 months, my kid came up and
this kid's
him.
only been wrestling for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because he was a sophomore.
More importantly, you banana splitted him literally 2.5 months ago.
Yes.
That the time frame matters.
You beat him so bad, his mom wanted to make him quit that night. And I begged her to let him stay out. Okay? And we put in the work. And me as a coach, I locked in on what he needed to work on, what he needed to do. And we came here, and he beat you. And he wasn't the only kid I kind of had like that. He was just the best example.
Version of it, yeah.
And when I'm telling the kids, hey, this is why you buy in. Like, look where he's at.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, until you get that opportunity to go up against somebody you've already wrestled, it's hard for you to see the growth. Because you can beat somebody, you know, but you don't know that you've gotten better. You just think, hey, I'm supposed to beat this guy. But if you beat a guy worse than you did before, or you beat a guy that's already beaten you, now you see, I've actually gotten better.
I'll do you one worse, though, when the roles have reversed. I've had kids that, like, beat kids, and then later on, they'll lose to the kid. Like, I had a gentleman, he pinned a kid early on in the season, and then later on in the season, lost to the kid by, like, 1 or 2 points. And then he came to me and was like, am I getting worse? Am I doing this? I'm like, no. I was like, progress is not isolation. I was like, you might go from 3 to 4, and this kid, when you faced him, when you were a 3, he was a 2, and you beat him, that kid may have gone from a 2 to a 5. You're progressing, yes, but it's not in isolation. Everyone's getting better. Everyone's working. One of the things that I've tried to do, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right, and I'm kind of asking because, like, I'll be honest with you, I only wrestled in high school. And then I went to UMSL that didn't have a wrestling team, so that's how I got into fighting, and that's when I inevitably met you. But, like, I didn't wrestle in college. So now as a wrestling coach in high school, I will say that mixed martial arts still expanded my wrestling. I got to wrestle with a lot of college athletes. I got to learn a lot of college wrestling. I got to wrestle with like Alejandro, you. I mean, a slew of guys that were much better than me in wrestling and kind of like elevated my game, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know what I mean? I do believe in iron sharpens iron. And if you're the...
I mean, Alp was a freaking...
Turkish national champ.
Yeah, an Olympian.
Yeah. It's fucking insane. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in terms of credentials, I'm not really. You know what I mean? But one of the things I try to stress, and we don't have a feeder program, one of the things I've tried to stress is to, number one, change the culture. Because how can I expect kids to want to win, to work, to progress, to dedicate time and effort, if we're not creating a space in which that is not like... I want to be careful how I say this. Working hard in our room is not an, like an accolade. It is the prerequisite. When you come here, this is the hardest sport. We'll say it like, hey, all the other teams in our school, like they lose for the most part, but the wrestling team is one of the more successful. Yeah. Why? We don't fucking play around here. We're here to work. We're here to fucking win. Because you can either have fun at practice, you can have fun with your friends fucking around, or you can get your hand raised. And nothing's more fun than that. And I tell them now, we do like this little speech at the beginning of like what I expect from you and what you can expect from me. I was like, here's what you can expect from me, my time, my effort, my everything. Here's what I expect from you, your time, your effort, your ability to want more for yourself. And it starts with wanting to win. I want to produce sore losers. I want you to hate fucking loser. Like that's it. Number one, you should hate losing. Then you should love winning more than you hate losing. And that's that transition. But it starts, I think, it starts with culture because I don't have a feeder program. So like what I want to do is create this bubble that when kids come in from like their freshman year, they're like, holy shit, what is this? All these guys are like talking about how they want to fuck people up and pin people, whatever the hell that means, because they don't know what that means. But they see the frame, they see the room, they see, you know, some of these, what I would want to, I want people to look in our room and be like, look at those guys, holy shit. And we have that now. Mm-hmm. We moved the wrestling program from the wrestling room to the cafeteria because we have so many numbers now, we can't fit in our wrestling room. So we have like 50, 55 kids now. 4 years ago, we had like 20. You know what I mean? Shout out to your class, man. Thank you for my first year. But the program's completely different now. And one of the things I love is because we're in the cafeteria, kids can walk by and see. And dude, we have a crowd now. They'll sit there and like watch us. And I'll open the door every now and then and be like, you guys can join whenever you want. They're like, nah. And that's exactly what we're good. I was like, hey, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to buy a welcome mat and lay it out like in front of the doors and be like, hey, anyone's willing to come in. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, and my question is, I think it starts with culture. Do you agree or disagree? A good wrestling program.
Definitely. Culture foundation. I would say what I've had as far as success with keeping kids out is making it fun, especially when you're building a program, when you don't have a feeder program. So when you're introducing a sport like wrestling, you know, that's violent, aggressive, you know, especially in my case to a bunch of Catholic school kids that didn't grow up in aggressive situations for the most part.
Also isolated, not a team sport, one-on-one.
One-on-one, yeah. You know, it's just like, how do you make this fun? You know, and that's...
So forgive me, how do you?
Well...
Because I think winning is fun. I think if they have success, they will become infatuated with that success, and that success will then turn into passion.
Okay. So, I feel like competition is fun. Okay. So, I remember when I started, my first match was against a kid from Whitfield, and the very next match was against a kid from Oakville. It was the JV match, I lost the match against the kid from Whitfield, Goofy-looking private school kid, all right? Not gonna lie. I was pissed, but at the same time, I was excited. I barely lost, you know, didn't really know what I was doing. I was getting takedowns, but I kept getting reversed. I was reaching back, you know, that stupid stuff. And then the next match, body locked the kid and pinned him.
Did you start your freshman year?
I started my freshman year of high school.
Oh, you never told me that.
Yeah, I started in high school, yeah.
Okay.
So another reason why I know what it takes to build a kid from scratch.
Yeah.
You know,
you were there.
And I was blessed. I was blessed to walk into the coaching staff that I had. You know, my high school wrestling coach was probably the smartest coach in the area, one of the most decorated coaches in the area. Wrestled at Mizzou, was a former Olympic coach, former Olympic alternate in high school for judo.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, he was awesome.
Legit.
And then his assistant was an alumni from my high school who was a D2 national champ for SIUE. Okay, so it was like, you know, we had this guy who was an encyclopedia of wrestling, and then we had a guy from my hometown high school who also started in high school, went on to win a national title, and then come back teaching us, you know, like, hey, this is how you use your athleticism, and this guy's going to teach you how to be technical. So, like, I was a blank sheet learning from two Picassos. You know what I'm saying?
God bless.
So, so basically, like, when it comes to
making it fun,
bro, like, you got to put these kids in situations where they can not only thrive, but like they can compete. This kind of ties into like my wrestling schedule, because my competition will be like, oh, you don't have a tough schedule, this and that, and blah blah blah, and you know, you wrestle this team or you go to this tournament, blah blah. And I was like, I'm building a team. My studs are going to get pushed.
Yeah.
Almost every tournament we go to, my studs gonna see somebody decent in the finals. Okay. That's just how it is. So if we go to a tournament where they're not deep, you know, if Afton is a decent team, but they only got 3 studs. They got 3 studs. Okay? And if
Three of your guys are going to have a good match.
By the time they get to the finals.
Yeah.
And guess what? All of my average and beginner guys are going to see average and beginner guys throughout the tournament. So instead of going out there against a stud or a dude who knows what he's doing and getting pinned in the first minute.
And not picking up anything.
You're going to get 5 to 6 minutes with another dude figuring it out as well. So everything worked on in practice, you get to try it out in the match. It's either going to work or it's not. Or you're going to figure out how it works for you. And, like, I will see my guys progress during the season. And by the time we get to the regional championship, at the end of the season, I'm the only team that has guys that have progressed through the season. Because a lot of these coaches, well, they're not coaches. So they're studs or studs because they came in studs.
Yep.
Or they're going to King Select or Perler, they're club coaches, and getting better there, okay? And those
Meaning they're wrestling year-round, even outside of you.
Yeah. And even some of my guys do that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
So does Toby.
Yeah, they get something. I'll be like, yeah, go get some extra work. Don't overdo it. You know, if you go to
Thoroughbred or Perler or wherever.
Yeah, if you go to King Select on Sunday and y'all get a hardwood, you better let me know because when Monday comes, you're probably not going hard.
Yeah,
you know, go through the motions, go a little like, you know what, sit out live today. We'll go tomorrow. You know, just conscious of what's going on with them and taking care of their bodies. But nah, man, my guys, they enjoy it because they'll go out there, they'll lose their first few matches, but they won't get murdered.
Yes.
And they'll be like, I can do this. They go out there, they get pinned in the first 30 seconds of their first 5 matches. Why am I doing this?
My initial thought in the strength of schedule that you're talking about is it would be an active criticism if then you were going to state and not succeeding. But if you're going to complain about a strength of schedule, one would argue that the state championship is the strongest of schedules.
And we did the
best. If you had 5 qualifiers
and 4
with 4 medalists, it's hard
Top
to
4.
argue with results.
Yeah.
Right?
3 in the semis.
I will say that I've probably picked up a little bit from that because we have a couple. I'll say this: we have a couple tournaments that I do not think we should be a part of. I mean, tournaments where we're going up. So we're a Class 2 school. In the state of Missouri, we have 4 classes, and we have one tournament in particular. My problem is not necessarily the strength of schedule, the strength of that tournament. It's also the timing. It's 2 weeks before districts, and the last 2 years we've had kids go in there and like only our state, like only Toby,
Thrasher,
Seckman.
Okay.
Seckman's a tough tournament.
Yeah.
It's a tough tournament, and it's like, you know, all the Class 4 schools. Like, anyway, long story short, because I'm not trying to, I want to be careful how much I say because this is like high schools, you know what I mean? But anyway, long story short, it's a very tough tournament.
Saying names,
yeah, right. So like, I want to be careful as well, because technically, like everyone's a minor. But anyway, long story short, it's a very tough tournament, and usually the only kids that have success are then the kids that will have success in state. And I've had like mixed feelings about it because there's a part of me that's like, I remember when I was in high school, I loved those tournaments. The Suburban East tournament, I saw David Evans at those tournaments, you know what I mean? I remember those tournaments, and those were the tournaments that provided me the avenue to understand where I needed to work on and ultimately get my state medals, right? So like, in one aspect, I think they have merit. Yeah. However, is it worth 1 or 2 kids learning a few really adept lessons for 10 other kids to just basically go 1-2 out and then just watch wrestling all day?
I'm out here and I'm giving my.
Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
Like what's the weight here? Yeah. Maybe the truth of the matter is that we needed to get out of that tournament because it's just. If it was maybe in the beginning of the year, then even then you could make the argument that like you don't want to start off with everybody just got absolutely getting thrashed.
Like I said, I'm giving my formula away. I don't care. You know, if you really study me, you'll know this is my formula. So like, when it comes, I'm just going with my tournament schedule before I get to my dual team schedule. My tournament schedule is this. Okay? We start low, we peak, and then we go down in competition heading into regionals.
Meaning like November, December is like when wrestling starts. Mm-hmm. You'll start at a certain level. By the time end of December, beginning of January hits, you're peaking then.
Mm-hmm.
And then
as far as competition.
Yeah.
Okay? So
in terms of tournaments, duels, yada, yada.
Yeah. Tournaments, not necessarily duels. Like I'm saying, I'm going to get to duels. So with how tough the tournament is, top to bottom, it's like, okay, beginner tournament. You know, my new guys got to be able to have some success. My studs probably not going to get pushed. Most likely they'll get a decent match in the finals. Next tournament, kind of the same thing. Third tournament, my studs probably getting pushed by the semis. You know, my new guys are at best going 2-2. Then we get to the tough part, and it's just like new guys. I'm hoping they get at least one win.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My studs getting pushed in the quarters, getting pushed in the semis, probably not winning in the finals. If that, maybe they're in the wrestlebacks. And then, like I said, same thing on the way down. And then those last two tournaments, confidence boosters.
Yeah.
Working on tweaks with the new guys. Like the new guys, you've pretty much had a whole season. You know the basics. Okay, what can I teach you extra to enhance your skill set? What can we work on going into regionals? Oh, we're going into regionals. You've wrestled this guy from our regional 2 times. Both times he's beat you, or you guys are split 1-1. What do we need to work on and focus on going into regionals? You know what I'm saying? I don't need us going to a tough tournament, you know what I'm saying, and worry about 1, you getting hurt, or 2, you trying to win some title that don't mean anything. Because I'll tell my kids, they'll be worried about losing at a tournament, and I'll be like, who won this? Who won the Thrasher last year? We're not in the Thrasher. I'm just throwing it out. I was like, who won the Thrasher? Like, I don't know. I was like, well, who won state? Who placed? Oh, these guys. I was like, that's all people care about.
That's all people care about.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like, I have guys on my team that lost at certain tournaments. Matter of fact, my 113 is Jacoby Cobbs. He lost to the returning state finalist twice this season. At our second tournament, okay, and then at sectionals, both times by 1 point.
Ooh.
Both times by 1 point. The returning state finalist. Then he had to wrestle him in the blood round to place. So winner places, the other one goes home. And he pinned him.
Wow.
Okay?
When it mattered.
When it mattered. Each time he lost, it was because he made a mistake. And we went back and said, hey, if you just don't do this, you got it. Okay? Last time they wrestled, he was clean. He got a nasty cradle, got to his cradle, pinned him. He was winning before the cradle, so it wasn't like he got lucky. But I was just like, no one's going to talk about how he beat you at sectionals.
No one gives a shit.
Or that tournament.
Also, no one keeps records. That guy can beat you 4 times that year. And if you only beat him 1 time, but it was at state, I don't give a shit about those other 4 times. I won when it mattered. I tell kids that state is more of a mental state. I've never had a fight that brought out the anxiety, the emotions, the culmination. Not even as a coach, dude. We'll talk about the difference between coaching and fighting.
My bad. Go ahead.
I always thought the competition was hard, bro. You should see me. I'm a mess. Anyway,
I'm sweating my hands.
Dude, I'm sweating and it's exhausting, right? So anyway, sorry.
My bad.
Wrestling is it's tough on 2 levels. One, the consistency. Every week or every other day you have to make weight. So that's the thing, right? In other sports like football, every Friday or Saturday you have a game, right? That week leading up, you're peaking, dropping in football, let's just say. In wrestling, it's like, hey, we had a tournament Saturday, we have a dual meet on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So you're peaking, immediate drop, immediate peak again. And then we might have a tournament Saturday, so you might have an off day on Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, you got to pick it back up because you got to get your weight down. You know what I mean? It's such a monumental task. I always tell the kids, by the time February rolls around and they always want to, because they're kids, they want to roll live every day. And I'm like, hey, listen, it's February. We got 2 weeks before districts, let's say. I was like, at this point, there's not a whole lot live wrestling is going to teach you. How much more do you have to wrestle hard to understand your strengths and weaknesses? Yeah. Now it's about trying to understand wrestling. Not the athletic part of it, the technical side of it. What is wrestling? A series of exchanges, a series of action reactions. And I try to bring in the philosophy those last 2 weeks of okay, what is wrestling? It's I do a thing, you react. We call that a scramble. And then until someone makes a mistake, we keep wrestling. Yeah. I'm trying to bring them to that peak state at state, and then state is this 2-day thing now. It was 3 days back in the day, but it was a 2-day thing now.
Ours is 3.
Now yours is still 3. Ours was 3 when I was in high school. It was fucking Anyway, I'm glad it's only 2 because you only have to make weight twice, but it's tough because you have more matches. So there's episodes. But long story short, what I'm trying to say is I've never had a fight. I've never had anything in my MMA career that was equivalent to the anxiety, the physical and mental stress of state. Not because, when we had fights, we had 3-month camps, right?
Yeah.
In wrestling, you had a 4-month season, but you only have 4 seasons. you only have 4 states. So like if you don't get it done this year, that's 25% of your opportunities to make something happen gone. So the stress of like messing up and making mistakes and not hitting it against a bunch of other fucking kids
that you don't even know sometimes.
So that you don't even know sometimes, but that are also fucking killers. I say to them, 2 things are absolute at state. Number 1, there is no such thing as an easy match. Every match, even if you're the first, let's say you won districts and you got to go against like Toby against 4th, they're dangerous. They have enough skills to put you away.
That's why I tell you, they're here for a reason.
No easy matches in state. And number 2, you're going to have to earn everything. No one quits at state the way you might have some kid quit at some random fucking tournament, even at the finals. This is getting hard, whatever, let me find a way out. Doesn't exist at state. And you only have 4 of them. So for me, I don't know if it's the same for you. I'm kind of making a statement and also asking a question. I always felt that state as a competitor was the pinnacle of wrestling, the pinnacle of the mental and the physical. The smartest people were the ones that peaked at state. They didn't try to win, going into state 55-0. It didn't matter. What mattered is what did you do on those 2 or 3 nights?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Like back to what you were saying about, nobody cares about, how many times you beat somebody. It's who won the state.
Who won the state.
Who won in the postseason.
Who beat who, how.
My high school rival, love this dude. Like we're
friends now?
Yeah, we're
the high school rival?
My high school rival. Man, dude, we got a good relationship.
There's faith in us all.
We motivate each other to push each other and stuff like that. But he beat me like 6 out of 10 times. Okay.
So he got the better of you overall.
Yeah, but he was 6-0 against me in the regular season in 3 years. I was 3-1 against him in the postseason, and I did better at state each year.
Yeah.
That's all people remember. The only thing people remember is I did better in the postseason for the most part. But dude, I just remember when we would get to state, it was just a different, I'm gonna say out of body feeling, bro. Like I felt like I was walking on air and not like on a high, but just like
oh shit.
Yeah, oh shit moment, bro. And then we at University of Illinois, so we're like this building is amazing and it's beautiful and it's
this
just
dome,
thousands of and then like bro, coming from the hood, like I had never seen anything like this. I'm in an arena and people are watching me.
And they're educated. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
You have a crowd there to watch wrestling. They will cheer the small things.
Dude, remember
yes.
People don't even know.
Oh my God. Well,
that's old school now. That's old school now. But yeah,
you're showing your age when you yell too.
Yeah. Only a few years.
Dude, I still get caught in it sometimes.
So, yeah, man. But like we was talking about, like the nervousness as a wrestler. Yeah, I was more nervous for like state competition than I ever was for an MMA fight.
Forgive me for interrupting, but you fought at a higher level than I did because you did fight in Bellator. Do you resonate with my comment about how I made the comment of no fight had the emotions and the anxiety that I had at state wrestling, but I never fought at your level? Was it similar? Would you agree or disagree with me?
No, I agree with you. I just said like I don't.
So even you never had a fight that made you feel the same way state wrestling did.
Because almost every fight I went into, I was super confident, not necessarily that I was going to win, but I knew how things would play out for the most part. When I got to state, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like my senior year, I was 46. I finished 46-4. I took third. Lost to number 1 dude in the nation. That's why I didn't win state or whatever. And me and him are cool.
Not a bad loss to have.
Nah, I beat him next year when I won nationals.
Shit.
Yeah. But that's.
But yeah. Don't Google me.
And me and him were tight. We always joke about that. He's like, I got the state title. I'm like, I got the national title.
All right then.
Yeah. But my first round opponent was a 3-time state qualifier from a Chicago school, and he was like 36-3. I beat him by 1 point. Yeah. That was first round.
Of your senior year?
Of my senior year.
Fucking nails, right?
Yeah.
You're like, holy shit.
And then my quarterfinal match was a dude I had already beat before, and back to nobody's going to lay down the state. I had spanked this dude like 6-1 the last time we wrestled. I beat him in triple overtime.
Yeah.
And this was the place.
It was tight. It was tight that last time. So beating a guy by 1 point and then next round beating a guy in triple overtime.
Yes, bro.
Talk about butthole puckering.
And it was just like, like going into each match, it was just like I knew this guy's not going to lay down.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know he's good enough to beat you.
Yeah.
So it's
That's what I'm trying to say too. And it's like there's two things that wrestling does that I never got the sense of fighting. Fighting makes a spectacle of it. You feel special. Like when you're the main event of a fight or the feature fight or whatever. I mean, maybe you're an amateur fighter and you're the last on the card before the intermission before the pros. You feel good about that, right? The walkout, the energy of you, the individual, right? You get in the cage and you got an announcer, EJ Brooks. That doesn't exist in wrestling. You're in the fucking row.
We're RAF now.
Maybe RAF. Maybe RAF. We'll talk about RAF.
That's literally RAF.
Yeah,
now,
but now I'm still talking about like high school wrestling,
high school
right? Or college wrestling. It has a little bit of it in the nationals and like championships and stuff. But like for the most part, you're in the bullpen. 125's on deck, 130's in the hole. You're just another fucking number. You know what I mean? And then you're just getting in line. You have to stand next to your opponent for like 15 fucking minutes before you go out there. Match 6, and then you got to go out there and make it work. To your point, my senior year, I beat my first round. The year that I medaled, I beat my first round 1-0. We didn't get any takedowns. He rode me out. I rode him out in the second period. In the third period, I got an escape. And he almost took me down. And that's the difference. Trevor Ditto. No, I didn't stall. No, trust me, brother.
No,
I come to fucking
trust
fight.
me, you don't have to be stalling to get hit.
Yeah, fair. Also fair.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, though, is I am 33 years old. That happened when I was 17, 18 years old. And I can tell you second for second how that match went. Oh. There are fights that, for better or worse, I have forgotten. And head trauma is a very real thing, but I'm not equating it to that.
You don't forget matches, especially the big ones.
No.
Like, oh, man.
Or your rivalries. There are people that I see now that are coaching. I don't want to say their names because I don't want them to know, but I'm not going to lie to you. When we were talking about like the difference between like competing at state and coaching at state, there are people that are coaching now that were wrestling when I was wrestling, that some of them beat me, some of them I beat them. And I'm telling you right now, I am so fucking competitive when it comes to them. And every time we beat them, I'm like, I don't show it, but we get on the bus and I'm like, fuck you.
I get it. And you know what?
I'll tell you off the record.
Back to my rivalry.
Sorry.
No. I'm glad you went there because I want to get something off my chest. So I told you, me and my rival, we love each other.
Now.
Now. Yeah, now. Actually, we got cool in college.
Okay.
Because for 3 years in high school, we pushed each other. He was like number 2 in the state for like 3 years. And as a guy who started in high school, he was my stick that I had to measure to,
That's the guy I'm trying to beat.
Yeah. And every year I was getting closer. Then I finally beat him. And then he beat me again. We just going back and forth. And we pushed each other, and we had, in our era, probably the greatest rivalry on our side of the river at that time. Like, everybody talks about, like, hey, Brooks and this guy, okay? Actually, I'm going to say his name, Diddleman. Like, his last name was Diddleman. Like, Brooks and Diddleman. Like, that was a talk, And he actually went to the school that I coach at now. So I actually coach at his old high school.
No shit.
And it's funny, like, when we duel his team, I was like, welcome back to my house. And we joke about it. Me and him have a good relationship. I have a lot of respect for that dude because I think I would have gotten where I got as a wrestler, but I know I got there not just because of the coaches, but because of the competition I had with him. And recently, one of his former teammates told some kids that he beat me in high school. And not only did he beat me, he teched me. Now, anybody who knows me knows that my talent was my balance. I was like, everybody knew, like, EJ Brooks is hard to take down. Yeah. Like, even in MMA, like, everybody know, like, you shoot on me, it's hard to take me down. So, someone teching me sounds insane, okay? Because I've never been teched. I started in high school. I in my entire career, my 9-year career, 5 years in college, 4 years in high school, I had been pinned 6 times. 5 were my freshman year. After January, my freshman year, I had never been pinned again until my last career match in college when I got caught and pinned. Yeah. Okay? Last tournament I ever wrestled. Okay? Nobody ever teched me. Okay? Then my rival.
He knows because he's like, this is where I lost, this is how I lost.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then,
better than Google.
Then my rival was the only guy I wrestled from that school from sophomore year through my senior year. Everybody knew about those matches. So why would you lie and say not only did you beat me, that you teched me, and think it's not gonna get back to me? Because he even got back to my rival. Because my rival called me. He was like, we were talking about stuff and this and that. Because we were talking about kids that might be transferring to certain schools. We're like, we're like, he's like, you heard he might go here, and I'm like, yeah, and I heard this kid might go there, and blah blah. And then it got brought. He's like, hey, did you hear that such and such said he beat you and he texted you? I was like, yeah, I heard that. And it was like, I asked him when because me and you wrestled. He never wrestled you. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, and I never texted you, and I was way better than him. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, what? He's like, I just think it's disrespectful because we had a great rivalry, and for him to like interject himself into that and lie and say, I was like,
it's not even that. It shows you where their head is at as an adult. I will say this. I think that there is a beauty in reminiscing. Mm-hmm. There's a beauty in reliving. But there is a darkness in trying to rewrite.
Bro,
does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
My coach, Chris Whalen, my high school coach, the genius I was telling you about. This is so true. I see it every year. He said, "The older I get, the better I was." And I was like, "Man, there's so many people." Because I will be sitting with friends. Former
I don't know though, dude. For us, the internet's forever.
And they will tell stories, and I'll be like, "I was at that tournament."
It wasn't like that.
That's not what happened. But hey,
for us that doesn't work.
This round was on you, so I'm going to go with it.
For us that doesn't work though, because we started, I remember when I was in high school, MissouriWrestling.com had just begun, become a thing. And every match, every tournament, like this was Flow Wrestling before Flow Wrestling. So back in the day, I hate to say this, you probably can get away with some shit like that. Like if you wrestled in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, maybe you can get away with that shit. But post 04, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I graduated 04, and luckily, I would say 2000 up, you're good because everything's on Google. I've looked, but
you can't lie anymore. I mean, it's a simple Google search.
You can't. And my kids, they were like, "Coach, why do?" Because my kids were the one who brought it to me because. Some kids from his team said, "Hey, my coach said he kicked your coach's ass." Blah blah blah.
It's like my dad can beat up your dad.
And my kids were like, "Coach, why do so many coaches talk shit on you?" Blah blah. And I just said, "Well, one, insecurity." I said, and two, I was like, "Because I'm successful."
That's also wild that they're talking shit. Like, bro, just the whole concept is like foreign to me. Does that make sense? We have a school in our district. I disliked them when I was in high school. Believe me when I tell you, I dislike them now, like even more as a coach because they're so good. They have a feeder program. I'll tell you off the record who they are. You probably know them. But I would never badmouth them. I would never badmouth them because
you're a man.
Well, no, because at the end of the day, why do I dislike them? Because they're good. Because they're great. Because they've been great since I was in high school till now. A part of me, even subconsciously, respects and admires them. Because to be at that level for so long is such a monumental accomplishment. But now I'm a competitor in a different space. I'm a coach. Like, I want to beat everybody else. I want my kids to win state 10 times out of 10. But I would never badmouth another team or program, especially in front of the kids. If I have a problem with a coach, I'll go talk to that coach. I'm not telling my kids,
but you're a man, though. Because I do the same thing. I'm the same way.
If I have a problem with you,
if I have a problem with a coach, I'm not saying it to your kid. Okay, I'm not going to your administration. Like me and you, we gonna have a conversation. Sometimes people think I'm confrontational because of that, but I'm not.
That's fine.
I'm gonna address.
You're
something,
a wrestler,
you know. Another thing, I don't hate other coaches. If you're winning, if you got success, I want to emulate that. I want to learn.
I want to sit down with you and talk to you.
No, you're not going to talk to me, but I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna study you. I'm like, what are they doing? You know, and instead of other coaches studying me and really giving credit to what I'm doing, they just hate, you know. And my thing is, I take it as flattery that grown men link up, sit around, and talk crap on me to the point where they even lie on me because you're a grown man and you sit around having drinks and you talking about EJ Brooks. Well, you should be at home playing with your kids, hanging out with your wife like I am.
What's the age-old quote? Losers focus on winners. Winners focus on winning.
Yeah, that's all I do. I'm not worried about you because at the end of like, I tell my kids.
I'm worried. I'm worried in the sense of competition. I do want to know what you're doing. Yeah. I do want to know like what kids you have and all
that's
these
why
other
you
things.
study.
But I'm not. But
you're not hating.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm also not like undermining. I think that when I say this about this school that like I'm angry at them and all that. I'm actually inadvertently giving them a compliment. Hey, you're so good for so long. I'm jealous and envious and all these things. I want to beat you because you're the top. If I can beat you, if I can get to the point where we're winning a district champion, EJ, if we can win a district championship, we're in the top 3 at state. If Afton can win a district, that's how tough you were talking about how tough your district is.
Same.
Dude, in heavyweight, we had 4 the 4 state qualifiers in our heavyweight all medaled at state, for instance. Like just one weight class, but as an example, you know what I mean? Our district is also fucking stacked. And it's the same 4 fucking schools every fucking year. Forgive me my language, sorry. But like, so when I tell you, it's not just one, it's the same 3 schools that were studs when I was in high school that I had to beat when I was a high schooler. So like, I'm almost giving them roses when I say these things. But make no mistake about it. I might not badmouth you. I might not, but I'm watching.
Bro,
I'm watching and I'm learning.
You're a competitor.
Yeah.
I like to compete.
Yeah.
I don't care if I can't beat you. I'm going to try.
Yes.
I had schools this year take us off their dual team schedule because they knew they couldn't beat us. Okay? That's crazy.
Well, no, not necessarily, because what were you saying earlier?
No. I don't take
about peaking and
that's
the schedule.
That's tournament. That's tournament.
Oh, okay.
I
Not
said
duels?
dual team.
Okay,
dual
forgive
team.
Forgive me.
So like you're a team that we duel every year, but then you say, you know what? I don't want to lose to you this year, but you're also one of my haters. Okay. Now if we're cool, like I had a team that dropped us this year. I'm cool with the coach. He's like, man, we don't really got a team this year. I feel like y'all might beat us up. And I was like, no, bro. I was like, I'll put JV out, and I ain't gonna just lose a duel, but I'll
win, but we'll make it competitive.
And that's what I do with a lot of teams. So with the soft teams on our schedule, bro, if you look at track wrestling, if you're doing your homework, you're going to say, oh, he didn't put his studs out there. Yeah. He put all those JV guys that you're going to see later. You're going to see one of these guys at the regional, and he's developed. He went 500 in these duels or whatever. But we have coaches that they don't want to compete, and all they do is hate. And I've had coaches tell kids, you coach at this school. This kid lives in this school district over here, and his parents are thinking about taking him to my school because his team is not good. The education isn't good there, and the team isn't good. The coach is new, and he's not great. And they're like, I want better for my kid, so we want to put him over there with Coach Brooks over there at Althoff. You will tell those parents that don't send him there. Stay there. Just because you don't want to see that kid win with me. That happens a lot, okay? You will have multiple kids on your roster, okay? At least 2 deep. One kid will never see your lineup. The kid wants to start. You know that kid comes to me, he'll probably make my lineup because my team ain't deep. You will tell him to stay and be a career JV kid for your lineup instead of coming over here, getting a spot, getting a shine individually, but also helping EJ Brooks' team win. You don't want to see me win so bad that you'll hurt a kid. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy to me.
That's ridiculous. One of the things I don't do enough of, one of the things I need to do a better job of doing is also like acknowledging that the reason why I think the way I do and I approach this sport the way I do is because of the coaches that I had. You were talking about your coaches. Well, I had Coach Ford, Devon Ford, who had Devon Ford Jr. and Esmond Ford, his sons. And if it wasn't for that man, his mentality on competition, his mentality on sports, he was like the fucking Giga Chad. South Carolina, South black man, fucking uber athlete, but also like...
Was he the guy I met at what's the tournament I saw you at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, the black guy that you met at... Fort Zumwalt something. I don't want to say the thing. But yes, we were there for a girls' tournament. He was there.
And the boys,
that black guy was, forgive me, I shouldn't say that black guy. That, whatever. The darker skinned coach. He was my wrestling coach. And when I tell you, like, he imparted a lot of things to me. And I do want to also talk about this aspect because there's the aspect of like wrestling, but then I think that we focus on the competition, but I will tell you this. I think if there's anything that I've given more to the kids, it's like skill sets outside of wrestlings or mentalities for young men and women to like strive.
Mentorship.
To achieve more in life. Like whatever you do in wrestling, it will inevitably come to an end. However, the skill sets, the mentalities, the work ethic, that is forever. Whatever industry you decide to do, blue collar, white collar, athletics, non, Doesn't matter what you want to do. Let's say you become a teacher. You want to be like the best teacher. Let's say you become a coach. You want to become the best coach. That's what I think wrestling brings out of you. Anyway, to go back to Devon Ford, he was the kind of guy and he was the kind of coach that was like, if we're not the best, then we're not the best. But we're going to go up against the best. We're going to do everything that we can. We're going to work. We're not going to, I've never heard him say a bad thing about anybody. I've never seen him play the game. You know what I mean? Like you go to dual meets and like, we're going to move this guy to this weight class or whatever because you got the stud. He put me, I remember my senior year, I told Devon, I was like, I don't give a fuck about season. I was like, coach, put me up against the best wrestlers that you can because I'm trying to get ready for state. And he did. And we were on the same page with that. And did I lose some matches? Yeah. But did I win some matches too? Yeah. And then did I medal at state when it fucking mattered? Yeah. So like, I don't know. I have such a reverence for him as an individual. And when I think back about how I tackle coaching now, by the way, he's our head coach. I'm the assistant coach. One of the things I wanted to ask you is about like coaching, but like one of the things I know for certain is I would not be coaching wrestling if it wasn't for him. Had he not asked me to come in and help him, I would not be coaching wrestling. Now, I like coaching wrestling. I'm going to coach wrestling long after he's done with wrestling. But what I'm trying to say is like, if it wasn't for Afton to come back to the school that gave to me, and if it wasn't for Devon, the guy who poured into me, I wouldn't be coaching. There's two questions. Let me ask one and then the other. You have coached at multiple schools now. Where is your mentality at with programs, with schools? Like, how do you fit into that? You were talking about your rivalry with this individual and how you're now coaching at his alma mater. Do you not feel an affinity towards the school that you were brought up in? Do you not care about these things? Do they not have value with you, or do they have value, but like, how do you view this? Like, how did you get to where you're at now? Why aren't you at the first school you coached at?
Okay. So the whole reason why I got into coaching and teaching, because I'm a teacher, is because I want to give back. I want to educate and I want to motivate, like the people did for me growing up. Okay, so when I left college, went straight into coaching. I was at Granite City High School, okay, district that I teach at now. My high school coach was there at the time, and his co-head coach, who was the head coach before he got there, Alan Kurgan, he was like an uncle to me because he was my high school coach's best friend. So when I got out, they was like, hey, come over here. Oh, and by the way, my little brother was a stud. He's going to be a freshman. They was like, oh, and bring your brother too. So I moved to Granite City. Me and my brother went there. And then I was there for a while. And then my dream was to always go back home to my hometown high school, Cahokia, Illinois, and, do for kids in my hometown what was done for me. I got that opportunity. I was there for 5 years. And basically, when I came back to my hometown, it already wasn't the town I left back in 2004.
What does that mean? The school,
program, the town,
the neighborhood,
because
Afton's changed a lot too.
Everything, and not good. There was nothing good about the change in my hometown when I got back. And
economics, you think?
Oh, like boarded up houses, white flight, just the people running that town aren't from that town.
Gotcha.
That's what I like to tell people. Like, I don't know these people, and these people don't know me, which was the problem. So when I was, disagreeing with certain things that were being implemented, and people from the town that I grew up with were agreeing with me, that started to be a problem.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this guy doesn't agree with us, and the people side with him because he's from here. He needs to go. And that ended up being the case. I basically got pushed out, and
because you're a disruptor.
Yeah, and it was a blessing, honestly, to tell you the truth, because that town to me kind of was a sinking ship, and I was never going to leave. I was going to try to save it. My wife really wanted to go. She's like, babe, you could do better. You can make more money. You can be more successful somewhere else. I'm having success here. That was another issue they was having. Like I was the most consistent program. Like I probably wasn't the best program every year, but I was winning every year. And there were some years where I was the best program at that school. And at that school, you know, wrestling isn't supposed to be the face of the school.
No.
It's not.
I'm glad you said that.
And it was. Okay? And
don't you take pride? Isn't there a part of you that takes pride in that, though?
Yeah.
Same here, dude.
You know what I took the most pride in when I was there? It wasn't that we were winning, you know, conference title, regionals. I had state champ there. I had state place winners. I had took a program that had academic issues. And multiple years, 90% of my team was on the honor roll. That's what I took pride in.
God bless, dude.
We were having staff meetings.
You changed kids' lives.
I changed the culture.
Literally.
Every year, all my seniors graduated. All but, in 5 years, I wouldn't say more than 5 guys or girls, because I had girls too, that graduated from my program, didn't go to trade school, the military, or college. They left. All but 5. And of the 5 that didn't, they just went and got a job. Okay? If you were a senior on the program when I was there, you left and did something.
Yeah.
I was the only coach that could say that. There was one year I had 30 kids on my team. 27 were on honor roll. One kid was the head of his class.
Wow.
And the one girl I had on the team, she was number 4 in her class. That's what I was most proud of. Oh, and by the way, we winning. Yeah, we just won conference. Yeah, we just sent like 3, 4, 5 kids to state, you know, and stuff like that. And I was killing it. But I was making an impact. So when I said something, you know, and it went against what administration that wasn't rocking with me was saying.
Can I say something to you? I hope you don't think of this as like a disrespectful thing. I could never be a teacher now. One of the pros about my circumstances with how I coach now is I'm completely separated from the school district. I don't coach. I coach. I don't teach. I'm not. I give money. Like you're talking about like alumni, you know what I mean? Trust me, you know what I mean? So like the school and everything loves me. And because of that, I was able to leverage that relationship, that money, that transaction into all the things that I wanted. It doesn't shock me that we're in the cafeteria now because I asked. It doesn't shock me that we get some of the things that we do, but also it's a culmination of like multiple factors. Like, yes, I give back, but also we're successful. We're winning. To your point earlier about like how the wrestling team is not supposed to be the face of athletics. It's usually the basketball team in the winter, the football team in the fall, and
at that school, track.
I was gonna say track and field or baseball in the spring, right? Those are the sports. For a wrestling team to ascend is the exception, not the rule, right? And we are that exception, and I take great pride in that. To your point about like, there are many metrics in which I measure myself as a coach. Number one is the growth I see in the kids, like from freshman to senior. Like, did I do a good job of getting you ready for life is number one. Now, I'm not there, between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., like whenever school gets out, but I'm there for 2 hours a day for 4 months a year. You know what I mean? And I'm going to give you, if it wasn't for the coaches that I had, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. So I do feel that affinity. Yeah. And this is where I kind of go back to like that like haters on you. The majority of the coaches that I talk to, the majority of the wrestling, I don't want to say family because that's kind of like, grandiose. Yeah. But the community, the wrestling community is very positive. Like I very rarely, if ever, do I see negativity. Usually it's, you're changing a program, look at that coach. Like if there is negativity, it's usually in constructive criticism, like, hey, saw you did a thing, just saying, maybe that's not the way to approach it. I've had some moments like that myself. No one's perfect, you know what I mean? But I've also thought of wrestling as that. Like, let's say we go to a tournament and we're both at that tournament. The way my kids interact with your kids, I want to be respectful. I want to be diligent to the nuances of social norms. I want all these things, and I want that to be reciprocated out of respect for you and I as a coach. And it goes back to what I was saying about like that coach that's like talking about you or whatever. This is such a like, I have no better word to use other than what the fuck, because like, or phrase to use than what the fuck, because like I would never like badmouth another coach to the kids to instigate like sort of confrontation or rivalries that are outside of competition. And it makes me think of one thing. I don't know if you've thought of this as well. Jealousy is one thing and all these other aspects, but because you're from a private school, do you think economics plays a role in it as well? It's the jealousy of the fact that you have families that can pay into the education.
No, it's not that.
You think it's 100% athletics?
No, I think it's insecurity, not being happy with themselves and living through the kids. So it's a combination of, I'm a coach, I'm trying to build my legacy. You better win for me. You know what I'm saying?
To credential me.
Yeah, yeah, that's what these coaches are. You know, that's one of the biggest things I sell my kids on. But
that is the case.
No, for them.
Here's the thing. I started this podcast with congratulating you for a state champion. Right? So I hate to say it this way, but there is a basis of truth in that. If you have a program where kids are going out and getting medals, by proxy, you're sought at as a good coach.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm saying that. You were asking why do I think they hate?
Forgive me. Sorry.
Okay, so the coaches who are hating, because not all of them are.
Yeah.
You know, the coaches who are hating are the ones who are not happy with the success or lack of success they're having. Because they might be having success, but it's not enough. You know, and they're living through these kids. And I told you, one of the biggest selling points I get on my kids to get them to buy in, I tell them, I'm not living through you. I'm EJ Brooks. I'm a national champion. I'm an All-American. I did this. I fought in Bellator. I did all of these things as an individual, okay? I don't need you to feel good about myself. I've accomplished a lot as a man. 3 college degrees, beautiful wife, 2 kids. I'm a happy man with what? Beautiful wife, 2 kids, everybody's happy.
God bless.
Like, by the grace of God, I'm alive. I'm doing well in life. I'm doing what I love. I'm mentoring kids. I'm happy with just this. If we were just an average program, I would probably be okay. I'm like, we don't suck. We got kids having success here and there. Like, I'm good with that. A lot of the coaches that I compete against, they're not. Especially the older men. You know, they're divorced. You know what I'm saying? One of my biggest coaches that's a hater of mine. Everybody gonna know who I'm talking about. And I don't care because I'm going to say this because he pissed me off. He's been one of my biggest haters even when I was at the other school, my hometown school, and he was at another school. He was a rival of mine, and so I'm going to tell you why I'm telling the story about him before I say what I'm going to say about him. He went up to one of my wrestlers at Freestyle State and said, why isn't Coach Brooks here? Okay? He was like, I see all his wrestlers at all these off-season tournaments, and he's not at all of them. I'm at some. But first of all, don't worry about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't worry about, the privates I'm doing and this and that. I just left Arizona. Literally, I just got back 2 days ago. Okay? I took 2 of my wrestlers out there for a camp for a week. But guess what? That's none of your business. Okay? But he said, EJ don't want to do none of the work, but just want to steal everybody's wrestlers, a.k.a. saying kids transfer, and that's the only way I can win. Okay, so you going to say that to one of my kids? You wouldn't dare say that to my face. And my kid was like, why would he say? He said that the coach stood by him while he was talking to one of his friends and waited for 20 minutes for that conversation to end just so he could say that to him. And this is an older man. So my kid,
man meaning what, like 50?
Nah, he's probably like 60.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow. Elderly, sorry.
Yeah,
elderly.
Yeah. I mean, not elderly. He don't look.
No. Brother, 60, you're about to hit Medicaid, Medicare.
He's probably.
You're about to get Social Security checks. You're elderly, sorry.
He's up there. I mean,
he's... 60, sorry.
I don't know that he's 60.
Sorry.
He's
if he looks 60, sorry. That's on you, brother.
I'm not defending this dude.
Black Joe Craig.
So, and... So he like I said, he's a coach, and he's one of the teams that got off our schedule, dual team schedule. So you also got off our dual team schedule because you didn't think you could beat us. And I'm like this, dude. I know you hate life. Okay, you live at home with your wife, and you sleep in the spare bedroom, and it's been that way for over 10 years. Okay, and it's been that way because she caught you doing something you shouldn't be doing. So you hate life. That's why you're
not mad at me. You're mad at you.
You're mad at yourself.
Yeah, you're mad at you.
And also, I know that you used to coach at a former school, which I'm not going to say just in case.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah. And You got fired because you were beating up black kids in the back of the wrestling room. Yeah. So he gonna see this. He gonna know I'm talking about him. But I'm gonna just say, keep my name out your mouth. Okay? Because you're not happy with your life.
How does he still have a job if he's doing stuff like that?
Huh?
How does he still have a job?
This was back in the 90s when he did this.
Different time.
Different time.
Different
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Wild. Fucking wild.
Yeah, clown. But again, he's a coach and he's another coach. He had a kid on his team. Okay? That kid, mom lives in the school district he's at. Dad lives somewhere else. And the kid's like second string, sophomore, can't crack the lineup. Freshman came in, there's like a multiple time place winner. In middle school, kid will probably never make the lineup. Kid wants to transfer. Okay? Wants to go live with dad, wants to transfer. He ain't reached out to me. Okay? The kid ain't came, but I've heard that he wants to transfer. And the coach said no. And if you try to, I'm gonna make sure that you get blocked. And I'm just like, here it is.
I don't even understand how they have the authority or the power to do something like that. Nor do I understand the comment to make like that.
Dude,
that
I
is
can't
so
understand.
fucking. That is
It's crazy.
literally
Yeah, it's crazy.
it is the anti what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And what's worse is, even though we wrestled this team and we wrestled them in a duel and we see them at tournaments, we're not even in the same division. So like we're not in the conference. So I don't have
competing.
We don't compete against each other for a conference title, and I don't see you in the postseason.
But even if we were,
to
go back to what I was saying earlier, what is the point of all of this? Is the point of all this to win? No, winning is the vehicle. It's the goal. But the true value in all of this is the life lessons you learn through sport. Mm-hmm. And I've seen parents that try to coach their kids and live through their kids. I've seen that shit. I very rarely have seen, at least on our side of the river, have seen coaches that do that. That is fucking wild.
It's wild over here, man.
That is fucking.
It's a lot of egos, man.
It's just, that is wild. To me, dude.
What's funny is
because
my team
at the end of the day, you can feel however you feel about you. Mm-hmm. But if like a kid comes out and has success and then propels himself to a different stratosphere than he would have or she would have previously been available to, is that not something to rejoice? Regardless of the school.
Yes.
Like regardless of the school, you have an individual who is exceeding expectations, who is rising to the occasion. This is something to rejoice. This is why we have the Misha Awards, the Missouri State Athletic Association, whatever the fuck Misha stands for. We have this like award ceremony every year, and I kind of like it because it's like all the schools that I see that I'm rivals with, but it allows me this like lens of I get to see the kids for what they are. Kids. They're kids going to school like my kids, that are doing extracurriculars like my kids, and some of them are getting scholarships, and some of them are getting this, that, or the other accolade.
How dare you
it gives
try
me the
to
warm
control,
fucking fuzzies.
How dare you try to control their future?
It would not even cross my mind. Would I be sad if Toby left? Yes, 100%. Right. It's a loss to our team. It's a loss to our culture, our program. But if Toby told me like, hey man, I'm going to this school because X, Y, and Z, and it's going to propel me to this, go. If you need me, let me know. I'm here for you to whatever extent. If I'm only here for you, and maybe it's because I've had a lot of coaches in my life. Coach Ford, Jay D'Amato, Mike Rogers. I've had a lot of coaches in my career. And I've had these coaches for a certain section of my life, from high school to early years to mid years. But like, I look back at them with reverence, with respect. I've had Mike on the podcast multiple times now, and when Mike talks, I shut the fuck up and listen. When Coach Ford talks, I shut the fuck up and listen. Rest in peace, Jay D'Amato, but if he was alive today, I'd shut the fuck up and listen. It's because there's some people that have done it already, and I feel, you want to know what I feel, EJ?
Yeah.
I feel an immense sadness because for the first time in my life, I'm realizing that some kids might come into the sport of wrestling and have the exact opposite mentorship that you and I possibly had.
Yeah,
They had coaches that were, instead of selfless, selfish. Instead of looking out for my best interest, trying to live through me. It is, honestly, it's kind of, I'm kind of surprised in a very negative way. I used to think that wrestling was a universal, that everyone that went through this sport would be a better person because of it. But I'm slowly realizing that that might not be the case.
Look, as a head coach, I've seen ugliness, not only just from other coaches, but administration, like ADs from other schools and stuff like
that's
that.
universal.
And just, like really seeing a different light of everything. And people that I have respect for, like losing respect for. Because, when it comes to certain coaches being mad at kids that are coming to me, or certain ADs from other schools being mad because kids come to me, I'm like, how do you tell a parent what they have to do with their kid?
With their money.
Yeah. We didn't get there.
Brother,
yeah.
if someone tells me where I'm spending my money, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but even if they go to
you're out of your mind.
A different public school, because that's another thing I have with my competition. They some hypocrites. They'll be like, "Oh, this kid who legally can transfer to my school," because you don't have to live in Belleville to go to Belleville Althoff. Okay, you have to live in the school district of a public school that you go to, and there are schools in my regional. I said what I said. That have kids that live in other towns.
Come to your school.
No, go to their school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're talking about the kids who've legally transferred to my school.
Implying it works both ways.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, these
You've
kids...
lost kids that could possibly come to your school.
So, my thing is, one time I had a kid that he was one of the studs for a rival school in my regional. And I'm not talking bad on him. I'm just stating a fact. I'm running the track at 7 a.m. in Granite City where I live. And he's throwing the football with his dad on the football field. And I'm like, don't you go to such and such? And they was like, yeah. What you doing out here? Oh, we use grandma's address to go there. I ain't hating, but guess what? You're one of the best wrestlers on that team, and I got to beat y'all for a regional title. Now, if I was a hater or pretty much just doing the job that I could do, I'd turn you in. But I'm not, because I'm like, whatever, man, it is what it is. But your coach is one of the main people complaining about who transferred to my school or what freshman came to my school instead of going to his public school.
Call a spade a spade.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, y'all crazy. Like multiple schools. And I'm not going to say no name. Don't worry, guys. Don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm not going to. No, I mean, people can guess who I'm talking about. It is what it is. But again, I go, how can you tell a parent what to do? Matter of fact, the AD at a certain school, who I'm not going to name, trashed me, actually tried to get me suspended because 2 freshmen came to my school. Instead of going to that high school in his district, they came to Althoff, and he lied and said that I recruited them and this and that, which I didn't or whatever. They came because they wanted to be a part of my program.
Forgive me for asking this because this is ignorance. It's like, let's say, for argument's sake, you did recruit them. Is that like illegal?
Yeah, like you can't
recruit high school kids.
You can't like go ask people to come here. Like you can't do it. Like you can't.
Let me ask you a question. If you had this is ignorance because I don't fucking know. If I had a conversation with a parent and said like, hey, your kid should come to this school, but like, I'm not offering you a scholarship. I'm not offering you any sort of like.
I can't tell you to come to my school.
You can't even say that.
I can't. If you come to me,
it has to be 100%.
You have to come to me, and then we have to set up a meeting with our administration to talk about the school. I can't go to you and say, hey, come to my school. And nobody will ever tell you I have. Now, people come to me, I was like, how do I do this, and that? And I give them information on how to get them.
We have a school, class 1, goes to Afton tournament. Your senior year, what was their name? Don't say it in the mic. Like, say it like, whisper it. Okay. Yeah.
They just got
Sorry. Yeah. I know they did. I know they did.
Yeah, good for him.
Let me just say this.
He's number 1 in the country now.
No, he's not. He's like, maybe in his weight class. Yeah. Sorry. But pound for pound, this is a different list. Yeah. First of all, let me say this. There is no part of me. I am a very competitive individual, okay? I want my kids to win. But I do not sully other kids winning. Like when someone else wins first and my kid wins second, I'm happy as for them for winning first as I am for my kid for coming in second, or vice versa. Because it goes back to what I was saying. At the end of the day, I hate to say it this way, it doesn't fucking matter. How much money did you make from wrestling?
I lost. I lose money every year.
how much notoriety.
Luckily, my wife makes stupid money.
What I'm trying to say though is like, if you were, I'll tell you this: if I were to calculate the dollars of money in, money out, I have given more than I've gotten, but it gave me so much that it feels like I have still not bridged that gap.
I'm gonna say this.
Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say? There's still more to give.
Luckily, my wife loves me so much that she knows that giving to the kids means so much to me that I can get away with saying this. I, at bare minimum, lose $3,000 to $5,000 a year.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just pouring money into the program. You know,
miscellaneous stuff from shoes, from whatever.
Yeah. Like, hey, yeah.
This kid doesn't have money for food after a weigh-in. Here you go.
Stuff in the off season I need to pay for, this and that. So it's just like, but she knows what I'm doing it for, why I'm doing it, you know, and what it means to
Shout out your wife.
Yeah.
Shout out your wife. Here's another thing I don't say enough of. My wife also sacrifices. And I think we have not done a justice to say that we have partners who not only understand who we are, but understand the importance of giving back and have accepted for every sacrifice you give, your wife is also sacrificing. Yeah. And what's even more of a sacrifice to her is you have the ties to the sport. You have the reminiscence of your childhood and all these other things. She does not have that, yet she still accepts it. So in a lot of ways, she's sacrificing more because she doesn't have these emotional ties that you do. So I always tell my wife, thank you, because for 4 months out of the fucking year, you lose me. And
my wife's real sport. My wife comes from a wrestling family.
Shout out your wife.
Yeah. Like, pretty cool. Her dad was the first state place winner and state qualifier for his hometown high school up near the Quad Cities. So
shout out Dad.
When she brought me home, Dad was a fan.
A wrestler. Dude, I'm not hot take. Yeah. When my daughter starts dating, if she brings home a wrestler, I'm happy.
Yeah.
A basketball player, not so much.
Her siblings were very shocked that Dad was gonna be happy to meet
me. I bet.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But it all worked out. But and even her hometown high school.
The babies look beautiful.
Thank you. Hey, I had fun making them. But now, dude, and then her high school is one of the top programs in the state.
Oh, no shit.
Like, her hometown high school, they took
Missouri, Illinois.
Illinois.
Sorry.
What did they take this year? They took second this year.
As a team?
As a team.
Wow.
Like, they're who I got to beat most of the time. And it's just, like, no, seriously, like, if you leave, because top 2 teams in our sectionals, so 4 regionals, okay, you win your individual regional tournament, and then 2 teams wrestle each other at sectionals. The winner of those 4 go to state. Usually, at least one of those teams is going to be top 3. At least, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's second and fourth, first and third.
Implying that's how stacked your sectional is.
That's how stacked our sectional is. Like, that team took second. They lost to the state champions. We were on paper supposed to take third. Okay? But
shit happens.
Yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, she's at our home duels. My wife's at every home duel with my kids. If you're at an Althoff duel,
your wife's
you hear my kids. Because they're fighting in the stands and this and that and running around. I love that. Yeah, I do. I ain't gonna lie. And I'll scream from the bench, and my daughter be like, "Dad, man!" And I look at my wife. She'd be like, "These are your kids." And I'm like, "Give them a tablet, do something, bro. Give them a snack, like
get them off my ass."
Yeah. So yeah, bro, she's super supportive, and like I said, she loves wrestling, and like my wife's serious about wrestling. Like, my wife's 6 foot, okay? She's in the Hall of Fame for our high school basketball team. Like, so I breeded with her for a reason, bro. Okay? Because I wanted that height for my kids. You laughing. I'm dead serious, bro. Everybody laughs like, bro.
Brother, I'm not laughing at you. I know there's a lot of, when I decided my wife, I was like, when we have children, and my daughter Adriana, God bless her, fucking sturdy.
Yeah.
She's 3 years old. No one believes she's 3. Like 5 or 6. No, she's 3 years old.
Same with my daughter. Like, my daughter's usually the tallest person in her class and stuff like that.
Thickest,
strongest. Both of my kids they're tall.
Dude,
my
daughter fucking manhandles the kids in her preschool. I'm not gonna lie to you. The teacher came up to me. She's like, "Your daughter calls roughhousing pow pow." And I was like, "Yeah, I taught her that at home. She comes to wrestling practice with me now." Yeah. EJ, you're so fucking lucky. Do you ever stop to think how blessed?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. That's what I said. And you know
So
what?
blessed. Your wife, your children,
but
the life.
I earned it because
100%.
When people hate on me and be upset at the blessings I have, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I went through. And I tell everybody when they ask me like, hey, could you do anything different? Would you want this? Would you want this person's life? Like, no. I tell everybody, and not to be a Bible thumper or put religion on people, I tell everybody when I was a young man, I asked God for what I have now. Okay? And now I have it. Okay? I have everything. I wanted a wife and kids. I wanted to teach. I wanted to coach. I wanted to be happy. When I come home, I'm happy. Okay? Nothing's perfect, but I'm happy. You know, some of my haters, they have more than me. They have more money. They have a better team. They have this. They have that. They're more successful at certain things, but they're not happy with what they have.
Then they don't have more than you.
Right. So they look at me, they're like, I have this and he doesn't. Why is he so happy? Because I got what I asked for. I got what I wanted. I don't need this extra stuff.
There are two separate things here, though, too. There is the selfless act of wanting to give back to a community, to a sport, to whatever. But there is also the selfish act. And I don't mean selfish as a bad term. One of the paintings I have is, of the 7 deadly sins, I believe that greed is the least bad. It's still bad, but the least bad. Because I do believe that everybody should want more. But to want more is not inherently bad if you want more for the kids in your program. Yeah. If I want more for my children, if I want more for my wife, I can be greedy and selfless. These are not. These are mutually exclusive. Yeah. Sorry, these are not mutually exclusive. Sorry, these are not mutually exclusive. They can work together, and that is where I also find myself. The reason why I say you're so lucky, EJ, is a lot of what you're saying is what I feel as well. My wife sacrifices. My daughter. The feeling I get of having my daughter at wrestling practice now, I cannot put it to words. I cannot put it to words. And then I also know that it means something different for the kids too. Like when the kids see me with my daughter versus when I coach, because coaching Arion and dad Arion are two different Arions. I've had the kids tell me like, I just thought you were just an asshole like half the time, you know what I mean? Because you're so tough on me and everything. Then I see you with your daughter and I'm like, I realize that what you're doing is you just want more for me. It is. I make decent money. EJ, sorry, I make decent money. EJ. Nothing I do is more fulfilling than being a dad, a husband, and a coach. These 3 things I will move everything else to be. Like I'll move work. I'll move my secondary family. I'll move everything as long as it's not my wife, child, and honestly, I can't even say that because, like I said, my wife sacrifices. My child's. How many Saturdays do I fucking lose? How many weekday evenings do I lose because of dual meets and stuff like that? Where my daughter's like, "Where's dad?" You know what I mean? It's a total sacrifice. That's why I was trying to say that our wives. I'm not trying to like sound like a brown noser, but it's the truth. We get something out of this, like individually. Yeah, they don't. At least not in the immediate.
I feel like my wife does because she's like super proud of me.
My wife as well. Now, let me take a step back. What they see in us is the gratitude that they receive. And my wife comes to like our end of year banquet and she gets to meet all the kids. And there is something to be said about what they get, but they don't get what we get. No. They don't get what we get.
No, like I remember like as a kid growing up, it was, I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted to make...
EJ, you are becoming one of my favorite people.
That's what's up, man.
Seriously.
I wanted to make my coaches proud, my mentors, Now it's my wife, like my wife, my kids, like I know like my wife is heavily invested in me being the best that I can be. Like she's the reason why I went back and got my master's. Like when my wife is my wife for a reason, not just because of genetic purposes. But it was like when we got together, she was like one of the first women that was like, how can we build together and how can we make you be the best man you could be? That was the first woman that had all the other stuff that I wanted and was saying that to me. Like for instance, she's just as serious about our kids. She's already signed our kids. Our kids just got done with soccer. Now they're playing t-ball. Like I didn't sign them up. She did. I wanted to, but she was already on top of that. Like, hey, our kids are playing sports. I played sports. You play sports. That's what they're gonna do. And it's like we're on such the same page with like life goals and stuff like that. And my wife is a very accomplished woman, and I'm always looking to give her flowers. And I do that with a lot of my kids too. You know, people like some of my coaches that hate on me will be like, "Oh, he's always talking about how his kid did this and his kid did that." Like, I'll have a kid who plays football on my wrestling team, and he's like, I got one kid, he's like an All-American kicker. And I'm always talking about like, yeah, young stud, you know, #1 in the country at punting and this and that. Yeah, he didn't do that in wrestling, okay? But I know I'm a mentor to him, and he looks up to him. He looks up to me, so I know what it means to him for me to praise him for doing something else. Something that has nothing to do with me. And how do I know that? Because when I was in high school and I had a good soccer game and my wrestling coach was there, who was my mentor,
Gassing you up?
gassing me up. When I saw him after I got off the stage of graduation and he was the first person to shake my hand and congratulate me, I knew how much that meant to me, you know, that he was proud of me to do other things other than wrestling. So anytime I have the opportunity to give anybody I care about their flowers, I do that. And then people are like, oh, you glazing them. You like, yes.
Okay, yes.
Some people like to be freaking glazed.
No,
they need it.
I fucking hate that term.
Yeah,
glazing. When was it that like acknowledging an individual's accomplishment became a detriment? It's because of this mediocrity that's become so prevalent.
Yeah.
Sorry. When people have an accomplishment, I want to shout it from the rooftops. And
It's
if
like
you call that glazing,
they're shaming people for being successful.
suck my dick.
Yes.
Suck my dick.
I'm not going
Fuck
to, but I hear
you.
you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not a teacher. Suck my dick. Fuck you. If my kid, if Toby does something in other sports, I'll gas him up. If any of my other kids do anything in other sports, I also tell my kids, do other sports. Be a multi-sport athlete. Don't just be a wrestler.
Yeah.
When I was a wrestler, I did other sports that I thought would help my wrestling. Did I do those other sports with the same intensity or the fervor? Like, don't get me wrong, I wanted to win in everything that I did, but like everything culminated towards wrestling. Wrestling was my passion, but I did other shit. And I tell kids, I'm like, you need variety. It's the spice of life. Yeah. You need variety. You need to experience enough things that you don't like to understand what you do like.
And you need to miss wrestling.
And here's the thing though. That is also at a risk. You might experience something that you enjoy more than wrestling. And if that is the case, then I'll shake your hand and I'll ask how I can help you.
Yeah.
There might be another sport that you feel more passionate about. That's fine, because it goes back to what I was saying. I'm not trying to like
monopolize athletes.
Yeah, not even monopolize athletes, but I'm not trying to live through these kids. Right. I arrived to this moment that I'm at today was a series of decisions that I made. I was the arbiter of my world. And at any time, I'm sure there's a lot of people that were very uncomfortable or unsatisfied with the decisions that I made, but they were my decisions to make. And the people that I have the most reverence for now are the ones that were able to accept my decisions, even if it was at a possible detriment to themselves, because they saw the greater good. If a kid decides to leave for another school, if a kid decides to leave wrestling for another sport, then I was simply a pebble in the road for their progression. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to be their coach forward. Sometimes I can be their whatever, like their secondary, third, tertiary coach. Maybe I can just be like that person in their subconscious. That's fine. It doesn't fucking matter to me. At the end of the day, when I'm done with all of this, when I'm kicking my roses, I can look back on my life and say I gave more than I got. That's the goal.
That is the goal.
That's the goal. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You know,
we never know.
33-year-old man.
We won't know until we get to the pearly gates. You know.
All right, running the risk of sounding too like sentimental and all this other shit. Let's get back to wrestling and manly shit. Sorry, forgive me.
It's all good, bro.
Shout out wives. Shout out children. Have kids. Get married. It's the fucking shit. I do want to kind of segue, if you don't mind. The sport of wrestling is obviously a wide Venn diagram for you and I. We have also some similarities in the sport of martial arts, but that's kind of where you and I kind of sit. Like, I'm not a teacher, you are. I do want to ask where you feel on some topics that might not necessarily correlate to high school wrestling, but still fall within that Venn diagram, if you don't mind. I noticed that you were spending a lot of time with Colby Covington when RAF was in St. Louis, if you don't mind me asking. First of all, one of the things that we've kind of glossed over, and that is, because we were talking about a lot about high school wrestling, is that you actually wrestled at Mizzou, which is a, for all intents purposes, I mean, you're in the middle of the Rust Belt with other colleges in other states that are highly prolific, and you're a Division I athlete. So before you even pursued a career in fighting, you were wrestling at the highest collegiate level.
Yeah.
What was RAF St. Louis like for you? Because we've had the NCAAs here, and I believe we're gonna have them here not too long.
I think it's next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah. So forgive me, but we're also gonna have them again. I'm just curious what you think about RAF, what you think about wrestling past the high school and college level. Are you excited at the prospect of being able to generate revenue through the sport of wrestling? And I have some other questions, but we'll start with that. So are you excited with RAF and what they're doing?
I like what I saw. I know the owner. Me and him been in talks. And
spoiler warning.
I just think, it's great for the sport. It's what we needed. I'm hoping it keeps going, because there are a lot of guys that, like, even when they get out of MMA, they need somewhere to go. Like, they can still compete, and I think that's a solid place for it to go, and
or in the middle of MMA, which I'm seeing.
Yeah,
it's called a spade a spade.
It's one of those things where, like, now you can make money.
Let me ask you this: do you think there's always been a market, or do you think that market needed to be facilitated for wrestling exclusively?
I think it needed to be facilitated. I think somebody needed to take the risk of putting money into this and it not working. And luckily, knock on wood, it's
been very successful.
It's been working, yeah. And I also think we're more in a media-centered time to where it can be pushed. You know what I'm saying? Like with TikTok, Instagram, like it can get big. You're going to have more fans that you can reach.
Lot of marketing value with not necessarily the marketing cost.
Yes. Which is what's helping. And then, wrestlers, we aren't expensive.
No.
You can put on a solid show and not break the pocketbook, for a wrestling event.
Depends, because, like, I will say this, like, to do the Chaffetz Arena with their production, with their clientele, with travel and all that, I would not be surprised if those shows are in the millions of dollars in terms of expenses. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, while I think it's not as expensive as a UFC event or a boxing event, it's still up there. But that's also, I'm not saying that as like a bad thing. I'm saying that as like a good thing. Like, there's enough economic activity to warrant that expense. Obviously, there's a delta between expense and revenue. We call that profit. So I'm hoping that that's the case, because we've done, 18, 19 shows like this now?
10.
Sorry, forgive me. I'm like over.
Yeah,
I'm overdoing it.
Yeah,
sorry.
10 was St. Louis was number 10.
Maybe I'm thinking I don't know. Sorry. Long story short, I guess what I'm trying to say is, for me as a wrestling fan, I'm excited because for the longest time, MMA seemed to be the scapegoat. You're done with high school or college wrestling, and you might not be good enough to go to the Olympics, or maybe the Olympics just aren't like what you want to gravitate towards. Yeah. It's nice that there is an avenue to be selected that is still within that realm, versus having to jump out of that. And you have wrestlers like Gable Stevenson, who just got signed to the UFC, who, I'm not trying to say that, like, making the move from wrestling to MMA is necessarily a bad thing, but I think having the option to wrestle if you want to and make a living, or if you want to move over to MMA or what have you, I just think that more option is good.
Yeah, it is.
So, Colby Covington, what is your throwback with him?
Okay.
College days?
No, MMA, okay. And every time, like, somebody finds out that we're actually friends, they're like, man, how are you friends with him, blah, blah, this and that. Yeah.
He seems like a cool guy.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's...
outside of the persona, and I get it, it's marketing.
Yeah. What he markets isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay? And, he's not the type of guy that just makes friends with him, but he's a really nice guy. He's super... respectful, I'm gonna say, to fans, but if you're his competition, you're not his friend.
Which is every fucking fighter. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's how a lot of fighters are, And I'm gonna tell you, okay, so for instance, me and Kobe. So we met at American Top Team. Okay, so I used to go down to American Top Team in South Florida, and I would spend my summers training there. And the first summer I was there, me and Kobe were roommates in a house. It was me, him, and like two other
Was
guys.
Kamaru Usman there?
No,
No,
I
okay.
don't even think he was fighting at the time.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's me, Kobe, some other guys, and Kobe had his room. I had my room. We're in a house. Okay, the house was literally 2 blocks from the gym, so we had to walk to practice every day. Okay, twice a day or whatever, 3 times, whatever. How many training sessions you got? And for one summer, we didn't say a word to each other. I'm not exaggerating. Not a hi, not a good morning, not a good night, not a FU, none of that. Okay? We would be in the kitchen walking around each other, cooking. You know what I'm saying? Lunch, dinner, breakfast, blah, blah. Wouldn't say a word. Okay? He didn't hang out in the living room and watch TV. Like, he'd be in his room, this and that. And I was a 55 at the time and he was a 70, but we still would have to train with each other.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we had to wrestle a lot because we were both All-American wrestlers, former Division I guys as well. And the coaches who ran wrestling practice would want to see me and him go at it, you know. So we had to compete, and it was competitive. You know, it was kind of like, man, FU kind of thing, and it was competitive because we didn't know each other.
Yeah,
you
no
know?
bad blood, but no one wants to lose.
Yeah, and wrestlers are real bad with that. It's kind of an ego thing. So we didn't talk the whole summer. Okay? The following summer, I'm back. We're roommates again. Still not talking. And I remember this day like it was yesterday. He was getting ready for a fight against somebody. And I don't remember who it was, but he didn't have... I feel like he didn't have training partners that really wanted to work with him, that wanted to help him.
They were trying to beat him up, not necessarily get him ready.
Yeah, like, so the guys that were better than him were trying to beat him up. The guys that were kind of on his level didn't even want to go, like, they didn't want to help him.
Yeah.
You know?
That's weird.
Yeah, it was weird, you know, and I don't know why or whatever.
Sorry.
And one day, so the guy he was fighting was Orthodox, okay? I fight Southpaw. So they put me with him, and we were grapple boxing. And I knew that one, like, I didn't have a fight at the time. So I'm not getting ready for a fight. I'm just training. I'm like, if I go Southpaw, we're going to go 50-50 like we always do. But he's not going to get anything out of this because he's fighting an Orthodox guy. So I said, I'm going to extend an olive branch. I said, hey, look, man, we got 3 grapple boxing rounds. I'm finna go Orthodox because you're fighting a right-hander. Okay? And he was like, all right, cool, thanks. That's the first time we freaking spoke to each other. And we had
and
good...
you've lived for at least 6 months together.
Bro, and we had good rounds. He won every round or whatever, you know. And I didn't care.
Because you weren't trying to be competitive with him.
Yeah, I was trying to be
the thing I
teammate.
hate about sparring is like you weren't trying to win. If you're trying to win sparring, you're missing the point of sparring. Yeah. So you were helping him prepare for competition, helping him peak, and he acknowledged that. He understood that.
So then, after that, we start being cool. Yeah, and then, you know, we end up being friends. And I tell people that don't know him, I'm like, dude, that dude, since then, that dude has done stuff for me and had my back in situations, bro. Like, he wouldn't want me to tell people how he's helped me, but there was a time when people who I thought had my back screwed me over and I was in a bad spot. And I didn't ask him, but he's like, bro, I got you, but don't tell nobody.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you for real? I'm like, bro. And he's like, nah, bro. And he's like, and F them. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew, like, I'm talking about, I had some people screw me over.
Like money, business,
like, just, like, I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you off camera, but it was bad. Like, I was in a very bad situation. Not just like a financial situation, like, I was in a bad mental situation. And I'm like, how do I get out of this? Like, why would you, like, anyway, I don't even want to get into it, but that's why can't nobody tell me nothing about him. Like, specifically at RAF, somebody ran into me and was like, what the F you with him for? And I'm like, because I'm a grown ass man.
Ma'am.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my guy.
No one's gonna tell
However
me.
you feel about him ain't got nothing to do with me. You know? And
It's also wild to understand like how like shallow or like I want to be careful how I word this because I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but surely people can understand that this is the fight business. You're trying to get attraction, you're trying to get money. There's a right and wrong way to do it. I will acknowledge that. You know, bringing in people's families and stuff like that could be distinguished as incorrect. I will give the ground of saying that Colby has probably crossed the line sometimes. But what I will also say is that
crossed. He
crossed
long jumped over that.
Yeah. But what I will also say though is that is the nature of the business.
Bro, when he did what he did in Brazil, I was like, bro. I mean, he told me he had to be.
What he did with Elon Edwards, not Elon Edwards, not Elon. Sorry, what's his name? Guy that knocked out Kamaru. Fuck. Leon Edwards. I said Elon Edwards. Sorry.
Yeah. I knew
Leon Edwards. Sorry, Leon Edwards. When they were at the press conference and he was like bad mouthing his dead father, I was like,
yeah.
I was like, Colby.
He was calling Dustin deadbeat father for getting arrested. So he was doing the same thing.
That's a little different. That's a little different because those are like live actions that people can like, you know what I mean, have the discussion. For the deceased, that's a line I don't cross. So like when he crossed
The only
that
time
line,
he did
I was
something,
like,
the only time he did something where I was like, bro, you.
And that, by the way, that was the only thing that Leon that he said that got a rise out of Leon. Like the whole time he's talking shit, the whole time he's doing his thing, and everybody knew that's what he was doing. Talks about Leon's dad, and Leon like fucking kicks the stool.
Again, like I said, the only thing he said.
Sorry for calling him Elon.
Yeah, the only thing Kobe did or said that I didn't agree with, because we're in a fight game. A lot of these guys are put on the show. A lot of these guys are saying, we're fighting.
You're selling tickets.
And we're fighting, okay? I won't badmouth you or say stuff to get a rise out of you, especially because I got to fight you. I don't want to amp you up for any reason to come fight me. But I'm not going to knock somebody who says the worst thing to you because they're going to fight you. Like, we're meeting with violence in the cage. So when I heard guys say stuff about people's families and stuff like that, even if I don't agree with it, I'm not like...
No, I'll be honest, that's my threshold. So like for me, I'm the exact opposite. I was a fighter. I talked shit on them. My threshold was you, the individual. If I had to fight EJ, I'll talk shit about you, your skill set, and all these other things. I will not, this is me, anecdotal. I would not bring in like race, religion, family.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, I'm gonna talk shit about you, but you get to punch me in the face.
Yeah,
you get to take me down. You get to smother me. Whatever the fuck you want to do, you get the opportunity to make me pay for my words. So I always felt like words said in that instance were fair, because at the end of the day, you get the opportunity to make me repay. But to bring in other people that do not fight me, that are not a part of this, I always felt like that was the silver lining. I would never say anything. If we had to fight, I would say everything about you. I would not bring in your wife. I would not bring in your kids, because at the end of the day, they're not getting in the cage with me. You are. Right. So if I want to badmouth your coach, like not your coach, because like your coach is an individual, but like your training sucks, EJ sucks, all these other things, you get to punch me in the face. I would never say anything about, the individuals, because they're not in the cage with me.
I agree with that. That's what I'm saying.
That was my threshold.
I won't do it. I won't do that. That's what I'm saying. I won't do that. I just said I don't knock people who do, because because we're getting in the cage, and I don't. You could potentially lose your life in this cage.
I think that's a stretch, but yeah, maybe okay.
I mean, somebody has.
Come on.
Somebody has. What I'm saying, you could
Out
be
of how many fights?
What I'm saying, you could be seriously hurt in the cage.
Yeah, maybe.
So whatever you gotta say.
There's a ref in there
to throw somebody off this violent interaction. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Do I agree with it? No. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with it, because the closest I get to talking crap on my opponent is I will tease you. Like I definitely won't talk about your family, anybody, this and that. But like I'll tease you. Like I'll crack jokes. I'll tease you. And even sometimes I'm like, man, EJ, you probably shouldn't. Because it depends on what kind of guy. If you're like a knockout guy, I'm probably not talking shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little more quiet.
Yeah. If you're a grappler and I know, you know what I'm saying, like
if I was fighting Alex Pereira, I'd say Chama every time I saw him.
Yeah. Chama for your mama, as old boy said. Yeah. But the only thing Kobe said that I was like, man, because I hit him up like, bro, like, what were you thinking? Was when he said what he said in Brazil, called Brazil a dump. And I'm like, dude.
I actually thought that was the smartest move. Because he was about to get cut.
No, it was, It was the biggest risk, and he got the reward. What I said was, I was worried he wasn't gonna make it back alive.
Can we add some context?
That's all.
He was in a fight. He was on like his last fight as a contract with the UFC. He had just won that fight, and he was really worried because of his fighting style that he wasn't the most exciting, flashy guy, that he was gonna get cut.
He was like 10.
So what did he do? He got the fucking mic and said
Turn
Brazil's
heel.
a fucking dump, all these other things, and got a bunch of guys to hate on him. And now it's like Floyd Money Mayweather when he was like, Pretty Boy Floyd versus Money Mayweather. Now, whether you're buying tickets to watch me lose or win, you bought a ticket. I don't give a fuck.
If he was in Vegas, do it. Say, "Oh, you Brazilians suck."
I think it makes even more sense because, like,
what I'm saying, he was in Brazil.
I know,
and I'm just trying to like,
dude, put your money, dude. You're in the fucking favelas,
and they would
even more balls.
I was afraid somebody gonna kick his door in. He had to get I'm pretty sure he told me he had to be taken to a secret hotel.
That doesn't shock me.
And he was surrounded by armed guards, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I you my guy. Like, I don't want to hurt it. You know what I'm saying? That situation was.
But
it worked out, so I'm happy for him. Yeah.
It propelled.
It did.
Before that moment, we weren't talking about Colby Covington.
They wasn't.
After that moment, we were. So I hate to say it, but what's the difference between a genius and an idiot? Success. Yeah. So had that moment happened and he didn't get the success he had, he would be an idiot. Like, oh my God, why would you do that? Yeah. But got him 10, 12 extra fights.
Just happy for him, So
anyway, I just noticed that you were vibing at RAF, rubbing shoulders.
Yeah, me and him have always been friends. I'm happy for his success. He'll hit me up and say, "Hey, man, your team's doing good, man. Keep doing what you're doing."
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Your high school team.
Yeah, my high school team.
So he's actually paying attention.
Paying attention.
Here's the thing about these fighters that you don't realize is, like, they're just normal people. Like, everybody from the highest of highs to the entry of level of fighters from PFL to Bellator. I think it's PFL exclusively now, but UFC, like, they're just people at the end of the day. So we were talking about like how RAF develops a new avenue for some of these athletes to generate revenue, not necessarily following that path towards MMA. I am curious what you think that will mean for the sport of MMA. Do you think it dilutes because it doesn't get these like high level wrestling athletes?
Honestly, no.
No.
I don't think it affects MMA negatively. I think it might actually help because there are guys that get in MMA that aren't active enough to make money that will probably be able to sustain a combat sports career because they can also wrestle.
Yeah.
Hey, I might not fight but twice a year, but if I get 2 wrestling matches in, making decent money, I've competed 4 times and,
that rounds out the year.
Yeah.
An extra whatever percentage money. I will say that's what I've been seeing as well, that it's not a question of one or the other. It's a question of both. Arman Sarukian seems to be the one that's like, I think he's competed like 4 times in RAF in the last year and 1 time in the UFC. And I don't necessarily look at that as like a detriment. I look at that as like kind of like empowering the fighters. Like if you don't necessarily get the fight you want or the matchup you want or what you think is bestowed upon you based on your body of work, you can make money
doing a wrestling match
or a jiu-jitsu match or whatever.
And it'd be another big event.
Yeah.
Keeping you relevant.
Yeah. So I look at it as like an exclusively positive thing. I really do. And it's kind of like a loophole underneath that UFC contract where you can get guys like, where else can you get Hamzat versus Dylan Dennis? You know what I mean? Like, granted, it's a freestyle wrestling match, but still, you know what I mean? You're not going to get that from another MMA promotion. You can exclusively get that from RAF. So it also allows you to start seeing some matchups that you wouldn't previously see.
Yeah.
And that's actually what drives me crazy about the sport is, so Dylan Dennis and Hamzat have like this spat afterwards. And what's crazy is the whole night was like really good fucking wrestling.
It was great.
Yeah, it was like not even just from a wrestling fan who understands the sport of wrestling, but like great production, great like everything. The Chaffetz Arena was on fire that night, you know what I mean? And then to have it end with a brawl was only a net positive, but to see the clips afterwards like not be anything about the wrestling and be exclusively about the main event was a little funny on me. And then to have them announce, and this is what I wanted to talk about because both of the St. Louis guys, Joaquin Buckley versus Tyron Woodley for the next, I don't think it's the next RAF, but like one of the RAFs coming up, I think is very interesting because obviously Tyron Woodley came up from Mizzou, also the St. Louis area. I think around the same time as you, or was he a little older than you?
Older.
Older
Yeah,
than
he
you.
was the
Forgive
coach
me.
when I got
Mike
there.
was his wrestling coach in high school.
Mike was
Sorry,
his coach, yeah.
forgive me. So I'm kind of aging you past.
Mike Rogers was Tyron's wrestling coach and the guy that got him in the MMA. Tyron was my wrestling coach at Mizzou and the guy that got me in MMA.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That legacy.
Yeah.
And then also Mike Rogers was your MMA coach.
He introduced me to Mike Rogers. He was still training under Mike, and he was just like,
This is my guy.
yeah.
Can I ask you this then? How did you meet Tyron? At Mizzou?
The first time
coach?
I met Tyron, so my high school coach was a former Mizzou alumni, and he used to coach at Mizzou. So he used to have some of the best. He probably had the best camps for wrestling in St. Louis. So he would bring in like everybody. And one year, my freshman year, at the end of the school year, the first camp in June, he brought in Coach Smith, Tyron Woodley, a bunch of other, national college coaches.
Meaning the Mizzou coach, Coach Smith.
Yeah, Coach Smith, yeah. And I remember my coach pointing to Tyron and introduced me to him and said, "This is who you need to look up to." And then I was a fan of Tyron all through high school, like watching him on Fox Sports Net back then. I remember watching him on Fox Sports Net, okay, win the Big 12 title. That's not a channel anymore. That's how old I am. But then when I won a junior college national title and I was the number one recruit coming out of junior college and I was going D1, Tyron was a big influence in me going to Mizzou over Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, Northern Iowa, all those big schools that I had the opportunity to go to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say is your relationship with Tyron today, just out of curiosity? Friendly? Do you guys keep in touch?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about your relationship with Colby, where Colby is a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah.
What would you say about Tyron?
I mean, we straight. I mean, it's not what it used to be, because he's, going down a certain path. I've gone down a certain path, and it's like you going this way, I'm going this way. But when I see you, and we cool.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But that's
where it's at.
we cool. You know what I'm saying? That's just.
And you recently trained with Joaquin Buckley when he was getting ready for his RAF, his original RAF wrestling match.
Actually, I'm not gonna say that I trained with him. He came in to train with my wrestlers. So when he was getting ready for RAF, he hit me up, said he needed some good work, and he knew I had some studs in my room. I was like, yeah, I got some kids, and
I'll give you some work.
They gonna give you some work. And he came in, and my boys loved it. They all had a great time training with him.
Well, I'm sure it was a little bit like, whoa, what I
Yeah.
mean? Like this UFC fighter's coming in to work with us.
So yeah, it was. And then he came in and got some work, gave him some pointers, like, hey, work on this, try to do this, blah blah. And he went out there and he performed.
So I'm gonna tell you what I think because I hate asking people what they think about matchups before I give my input.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that if this was like 10 years ago, it's pretty one-sided because obviously Tyron was a Division I All-American, wrestled at Mizzou. It's a little different of a sport. I hate to say this though, he is like we were talking about, like the stages of life. He is no longer at that stage of his athletic peak where I would argue that Joaquin is. He's my age. He's like 32, 33. You know what I mean?
Huge too.
Yeah, and like all of that weight. You know what I mean? Great cardio, great. Like in terms of athleticism, probably superior to Tyron at this stage of life, right? Like today. But I will say that this will be interesting for me to watch because it'll be like what value does technique truly have in the sport of wrestling? So I'll tell you what I think, and then I'm interested to hear what you think. I think Tyron wins because I can tell you from like my own anecdotal, like the high school wrestlers are much more athletic and faster and stronger than me, but I fucking work them with like 1/10 the effort because I understand anatomy, I understand push-pull, I understand when to give effort, and I can put in minimal effort and get maximum output. And I think that even though Joaquin is an athletic juggernaut, I think Tyron just has the better technique. And he's still young enough to compete regularly. You know what I mean? So like it's not like 5 years from now, maybe it's a different story, but today, put me on the record, I think Tyron wins. I'm curious to hear what you think about it though, and what you think about the matchup. You know what I mean, like because both are St. Louis guys. You know what I mean.
So I'll tell you what I think about the matchup first before I tell you what I think.
Yeah. Sorry.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it
For what respect?
Personal reasons. I like both.
Okay.
I interact with both. And
But it's an avenue for both of them to make money.
yeah, wrestle somebody else. That's how I looked at it. I'm like, I haven't spoken to Tyron, but I know Buckley didn't ask for this.
Okay.
But Buckley ain't gonna turn nothing down.
Yeah, he's a competitor.
You know what I'm saying?
He's a competitor.
he ain't no punk.
You want to scrap, I'll scrap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like I said, I know Buckley didn't ask for it, and I don't know that Tyron did. I just know that Buckley didn't. The reason why I don't like it is because I like both of you, and I don't want to root against either of you. Like, I don't want to have a feeling of who do I want to win this out of two people I like and respect. I want to see you both win. I want to see you both eat. Like, if y'all in this organization, y'all could have wrestled anybody. Why wrestle each other? Like, I was in a similar situation with Zach Freeman and my boy Robert Washington when they fought on Fight Me.
Okay.
I said Fight
Back
Me,
in
not
the
Fight
day,
Hard.
yeah.
Way back in the day.
When it was like a family arena still.
Yeah, and I was like, y'all didn't have to fight each other. And now because y'all fighting, I can't train with you and I can't train. It was like a rule.
Because Zach Freeman and Robert Washington were fighting each other. And you trained with both.
I trained with both. So I lost two good training partners going into a very tough fight that I had.
3 months.
Yeah. And I was like, bro, like, why? I could have fought anybody. So when I saw the matchup, I was like, man, I don't like this because I don't want to. Even if I say I'm not rooting for somebody, I'm going to have a feeling that I want someone to win this. And I don't like saying, like, I don't want to feel like, man, I hope Tyron gets this done. Or, man, I hope Buckley gets this done. I don't want to feel that way because then I'm rooting against the other person in my gut.
But don't you see it as an opportunity to generate revenue? I mean, like, the other argument can be made that, like, because of the geographics, because of the history, like, that's why this was made. And that's why St. Louis...
It should have happened in St. Louis, too, if it was going to happen. That's another thing. I'm like,
I agree there. I agree there.
Happen?
Like, it should have happened a couple weeks ago.
Because if we're talking about generating revenue and making
that
money...
would have been crazy for a main event. Buckley versus Tyron, that would have been crazy.
That should have been
at RAF St. Louis,
that should have been the main event for St. Louis. That would have been nuts. That place would have... First, the event already broke the record
for their
organization's gate.
Yeah,
It was the biggest crowd they ever had. That place would have probably doubled in attendance if they had those two wrestlers.
It would have been eruptive.
and then even then I probably would have been like, okay, I see. Like they finna do it for the city. I understand that.
Yeah, if it's at St. Louis, it's a little different. I agree with you.
So I'm just like, why y'all? I don't get it. Like, why y'all doing it? Like, I don't think neither one of y'all need money. I'm like,
well, you can always have more money.
Not what I'm saying is like they're not doing it because I need a paycheck.
No.
Yeah,
But
I get you. So when it comes to
paycheck
like
at the end of the night, not the worst.
Who do I think's gonna win? I'll just say yes. I believe Tyron's gonna win this match.
But let's see. That's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, I mean that's how you wrestle. I mean anything can happen. I mean what I'm saying is anything can happen, as in like Tyron should be a heavy favorite.
When's the last time he's wrestled freestyle exclusively? Because Joaquin did it not too many months ago. He had a whole camp for it with some of your kids. That's the other variable, right?
No, I mean here's the thing, though. Like what people need to understand. Let's just put some respect on Tyron's name without glazing, as people would say. Tyron is a multiple-time Division I, which is the highest level of folk style wrestling, All-American. He is a Big 12 champion. He was a Missouri State champion. He was actually on our Olympic ladder. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he was like
legit.
Maybe like 4 or 5 spots from being the guy to represent our country in freestyle. In the Olympics. So it's like, I know the peak of his skill set. And then you're also talking to somebody who's wrestled with him.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, I'm like.
When's the last time you wrestled with him, though? Because that's the thing. The X variable in all of this is age. I agree with you.
Okay, let me. This what it is.
Tyron in his prime. I'm sorry, Joaquin mobs him.
Because this is
in freestyle wrestling.
This is the thing. I'm not in shape. Okay? There are guys that don't come from my wrestling background, that don't have my wrestling skill set, that are in better shape than me, that if we wrestle for 6 minutes, I'm taking their lunch money.
Yeah.
And this is me out of shape.
Yeah.
Okay? If Tyron wrestle someone, it doesn't matter who it is, that has not reached close to his level of wrestling skill set, they're not beating him. Because Tyron's not out of shape. All right? I just hugged him. He's
Solid,
in shape.
yeah.
What people don't realize, like, Tyron has been losing fights, not grappling matches.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if this was an MMA fight or a kickboxing fight or a boxing match.
I was about to say that. It's always been boxing matches, not MMA fights.
Like,
when's the last time you had an MMA fight? UFC.
What I'm saying
literally
is like,
4 years ago.
If Tyron and Buckley were fighting and there were strikes going and hands being thrown, like, whoever I think is going to win is not who you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
different story.
It's a different story. That's all I'm saying. It's a different story.
But a freestyle wrestling match today.
A wrestling match, nobody's getting hit and it's just wrestling. Buckley doesn't come from that level of wrestling because I think he had a little bit of a wrestling background.
High school wrestling.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Equivalent to my level of wrestling.
Yeah. And I've grappled with him and I'm like, and I saw him wrestle with my guys. Buckley can
But
wrestle.
I'll make the argument that, like, I will say this for myself: the amount of wrestling acumen and pedigree that I learned through MMA because of being, like I said, engrossed in the Mobap guys, the Lindenwood guys, the Mizzou guys that would come down to St. Charles and May. My wrestling level increased even though I was not a college wrestler because I wrestled with college wrestlers. And I'm sure that Buckley has had a similar progression.
I'm going to tell you something. Who was it? I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say his name. But he's in the UFC. Okay? I'm not training. Like, I'm not training. I was in better shape, though. This was about 5 years ago. I'm not in training shape, but I'm in okay shape, okay? This guy had already signed with the UFC. He was a multiple-time Division I national champ. I took him down twice, okay? I took him down twice. But it was because...
In wrestling or MMA sparring?
Wrestling.
Okay.
Wrestling. We were wrestling.
Gotcha.
Now, everybody in the room was like,
damn,
how did you score on him? Okay. We kind of split. I think I got 2, he got 2 or whatever. And everybody was like, how did you score on him? And I was just like, I don't forget how to wrestle. And I'm in decent shape. Now, if we had to go a full match, I might have been in trouble. I don't think I'm beating him. You know what I'm saying? But we're just straight up wrestling. We're going takedowns. I don't forget that. And if I'm capable of competing in this sport, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
It's like, but here's the reason I'm saying this is because I was able to take this wrestler down who was better than me because my skill set was at his level, but not on his level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like, you know, elite wrestling is at least level 8. Okay? So if you're elite level 8, you can beat a 9 and a 10 if you catch them. But you still got to at least be at level 8 to be able to compete with these guys.
Yeah.
This guy was a 9 or a 10, and I just called him slipping.
Well, also at that level, it's not a question of like substantial gains. I always say this: at high level wrestling, it's the subtleties, it's the minutia of the interactions in between. So it's not like step 1, 2, or 3, but it was, you know, a 5% mistake on step 1, a 10% mistake on step 2. By the time you get to step 3, you're already 15% down. If you make a big mistake on step 3, step 4, you're getting taken down.
You know, so somebody asked me, like, I had a bunch of people ask me about this matchup, and it was like, well, you know, Buck this and that, and Tyron old and this and that, and I was just like, bro, like, first of all, Tyron not old, he in his 40s, but I mean, I can't.
I have. This is where I have to push back on you. He is old for competition. I think 40 is old.
I think for striking combat sports, he's old.
I think for also grappling.
Okay, that's what we disagree.
Sorry. Like, I'll put it to you this way. If a 32-year-old Tyron was going up against a 40-year-old Tyron, so the variables are same, the only difference is age, you would agree with me. So what we're really disagreeing is, what we're saying is that the discrepancy in age will not supersede the discrepancy in skill set. I agree with you. But they're mutually exclusive. Tyron is also still old. Okay. Forgive me, Tyron. I love you.
I got you. So
be on the podcast. I'd love to have you.
Like, what I see in this match is a very game, bigger, stronger, more athletic, younger Buckley
against a seasoned veteran.
Is against a highly skilled, still athletic and capable Tyron. I don't think
in a non-striking grappling
match. I don't. And like I said, Tyron, you gotta understand, Tyron wasn't just a good wrestler. He wasn't just a great wrestler. He was an elite wrestler. I watched him in the wrestling room beat Ben Askren sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's saying a lot.
He was a two-time NCAA champion
I've seen
and an
it, 4-time
Olympian.
finalist. You know, I've seen this happen. You know, like for instance, I just got hurt doing a camp in Arizona. I'm wrestling with an all-state heavyweight. Okay, much bigger than me, taller than me, bigger this and that, and I got hurt because he was coming at me hard because he was frustrated because he couldn't get past my holds, my positioning and stuff like that. And afterwards, he's like, "What are you doing to me?" And I was just like, "Years of wrestling experience. Like, I know how to push. I know how to give.
I know what you're doing before you even know what you're doing."
But when he came at me with everything, I'm like, that little straight. I'm like, oh man.
Well, that's the thing, though, right? Because at the end of the day, I always say to the kids,
like I said, he was much bigger.
Yeah, but what I will say is, like, at the point where the technique is equal, the deciding factor is the athleticism. Mm-hmm. What we're arguing is, we're not even arguing. What we're debating is, does the youth and athleticism supersede the technical superiority? I think it does not. I think that Tyron's technical superiority, even with his age, in the sport of grappling, like in the sport of freestyle wrestling, if this was like boxing, different story, you know what I mean? In the sport of freestyle wrestling, where you can push, pull, slow the match down, I do think Tyron's gonna. I'll go on a step further. I think Tyron will not have a hard time.
I do not disagree with that.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm at with this.
I hope I'm wrong.
This is where I'm at with it. Okay, because I don't disagree with that take. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I truly believe that this is just a pure wrestling match. Tyron's just on a different level, and he's physically capable enough
of still keeping up with it
to deal with the explosiveness that Buckley's going to bring. You know, and I just hope that they have fun with this, and they're respectful, and they just
before, during, and after.
Before, during, and after. That's all I hope.
Do you think they won't be?
I don't. It's the possibility.
Yeah.
And I don't like the possibility of it. I don't want it.
What if it's to sell the tickets?
Showmanship,
Colby Covington style.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I hope they call us like, hey man, let's put on. Let's say we don't like each other.
Talk a little shit.
Make y'all money and
sell
then,
some tickets. Yeah.
But hey man,
personally, I love that shit. I love a little storyline. Like I'm not a big fan of like professional wrestling because I don't like the whole false. I want to be careful how I say this because I know the professional wrestling crowd is like fucking diehards.
You see the blood on my face?
Yeah, for me, I just prefer like unknown ending sport activities. I don't know how else to describe it than that. Non-staged. I'm not saying that like professional wrestlers aren't athletic or anything like that. I just wanted that to be known. But what I'll say is, you know, if there's one thing that like the WWE does have is like they have a story. They get you invested in this match, regardless of who wins or loses. Like you want to watch, and I think that helps a little bit of like back and forth. We're both from the same area of town, 2 different times. I think I'm better than you. I'll show you. You got my ticket. I'll buy.
It's definitely finna have a lot of people in St. Louis picking sides.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
new old, and old blood and young blood. I'm telling you, there will be a generational divide. There'll be the guys that know who Tyron was and is, and there'll be the guys that grew up with Buckley. That's what it's gonna be.
And I'm just gonna be like,
and at the end of the day, anything can happen, man.
Just be watching.
That is the beauty of wrestling. I've seen the better man lose. I've seen the guy that should win 9 times out of 10 get that 10th time, and I will say that it is, if you were to explain, or like if I were to explain to an individual why at 33 years of age, having watched as many wrestling matches and watching as many fights and all these other things, why I still get so excited about wrestling is because wrestling is the one athletic sport in high school, college, that at any given second, as long as there is still time on that clock, anything can fucking happen. I've seen a guy lose at state who was supposed to win the state championship lose to the guy who ended up getting 6th with a last-minute Hail Mary head and arm, sticks him with 3 seconds left on the clock. I saw that in my lifetime. So there is no sport like wrestling to me in high school. I think MMA still takes the crown for the most exciting because anything, an elbow, a kick, whatever, you know what I mean? The way I still feel about a heavyweight MMA fight is I'm like, any punch could be the end. The only other sport that gets me to think like that is wrestling. I don't watch football. Like, I know that a basketball game or a football game, it's decided in the last, like, you know, quarter if it's competitive, you know what I mean? But a wrestling match, if there's 5 seconds left on the clock, anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm with you with the whole, like, you know, MMA is the only thing that's a little more exciting, you know, like, and I take pride in being an MMA veteran. You know, what's funny is, so what did you think of the White House card?
I loved it.
Okay, same. So
I thought it was the single greatest MMA event ever put on.
Agreed. And
there's some things I would change, but overall, I was immensely surprised and impressed with what was put on.
Same way. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought it was gonna be a trashy event.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a trashy event.
I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Outside, humidity, possible rain.
Yeah, possible rain. Yeah, all of it.
If the fights are shit, dude, every fight going to a
every
finish.
Fight was great.
Oh my God.
Great. So
the main event ending the way it did, holy fuck.
It was
holy
if
fuck.
It didn't if Ilya Tapora didn't look the way he looked, I would have thought it was scripted.
To go from the second round where Justin is
almost
on
got
death's door,
yeah.
and not real death, but like if Ilya, instead of going for submission, just bases up and starts throwing some elbows or some hands,
that fight.
He's the champ.
Or lets him up.
Or lets him up. Yeah, or lets him up. Doesn't go follow him down. There's so many things that had to happen.
There's only... You couldn't have found a more American guy
than Justin
Gaethje to beat him in the main event. The only people I could think of there's like is Dustin Poirier, Colby Covington.
No, Justin Gaethje, his father worked in a copper mine.
I'm just saying,
bro,
you know, I'm just saying, like if you're talking like American walk on their flag and this and that, and I'm not. Gonna
how about he's in the Oval Office looking at the Declaration of Independence with the stars and stripes over his shoulders,
on his back,
and he's walking from the Oval Office over what is the Cascade, which is all the photographs of previous presidents. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you this, I'm an immigrant. Okay, I came to this country when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I don't really remember Albania or Greece. I always say that I'm American Albanian, not Albanian American. I got fucking chills at his entrance. Literal chills. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I hope this is not the one. Like, I hope we do this again.
I don't think they're doing it again.
I don't think they will, but I hope we're wrong. Because that was so fucking epic. All of it.
Yeah.
The whole
thing.
The story, the production, the fights.
Bro.
It could not have happened better.
So
unless you're Ilya Taporia.
I posted. I was so proud of the moment. I posted
for MMA, for America, for
both.
All of it.
So I posted a photo of the jets flying over the cage in the White House. And it was like, you know, UFC 250. It was like a great photo. People in the cage, blah, blah, blah. By the way, like you can't see Trump in the photo. Yeah. Like I think he's in there, but you can't see him. All you see is the people in the cage, the jets flying over the White House. And it was a great photo. And I made my story and I said, God bless America. And I posted a song with it, Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is sung by a black woman. It's basically the black national anthem. And I had a handful of people, there's like about 4 or 5 people, be like, I never would have thought you'd be a Trumper. I never thought you'd support Trump. And I'm over here like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you get me saying, God bless America, and praising the UFC White House card for being one of the greatest, that's one of the greatest sports events I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm like, one, I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud that I was born here. Okay. 2, I don't know if you know, I'm a retired MMA veteran at a high level. 3, Derek Lewis, I'm friends with Derek Lewis. He was one of my roommates in the American Top Team. All right. Saw him fight. Sucked that he lost. Okay. And no, I don't agree with what Josh Hogan said. You know, I just thought it was a
allegedly comments. Alleged comments.
I was just like, come on, bro. Like that's, you know.
Yeah, the timing was off.
Yeah.
Was it hilarious? I hate to say it. I hate to fucking say it.
I don't think it was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious.
But to each his own. Like, do I care if somebody makes a joke about the Obamas? No, I don't.
You have to understand that for me as an individual, I refuse to let words have power over me.
Right.
I refuse. There is
No, no,
nothing
what
you
I'm saying
can
is-
say that will offend. I don't care.
I wasn't offended. I wasn't offended. I wasn't offended.
I thought it was hilarious.
I'm saying you thought it was funny. I didn't.
Do I
What
think
I'm
it's
saying is,
true?
If you
No.
say something, I'm gonna say along those lines. It's got to be funny. I'm like, bro, you had your moment to say something offensive.
But humor is also subjective.
It
Like
is.
you can make the argument. Okay, here's where I will agree with people that like at that stage, at that moment, it sullies it. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the comment to make. Was it fucking funny? Sorry. Yeah, it was fucking funny.
Okay, you thought it
Do
was.
I think that was the time and place? No. But was it fucking funny? Yes.
Okay, and we agree to disagree.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so again, I know Derek Lewis. I've trained with Bo Nickel. I know Michelle Chandler. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you the truth. So I know 3 people who fought on that card.
Yeah. And you trained with them.
And trained with them. Okay, and you know I was rivals with Michelle back in the day. Okay, but
Chandler, not Obama.
yeah. Let me
You gotta clarify.
Okay, I'm joking. Let me stop calling him that. My bad. I'm just being funny. See, I'm being funny. now.
Yeah.
But honestly, I saw him walking into the White House because you know when he was walking in before the fight,
He had the stars and stripes over his.
and I said,
It's fucking cool.
bro, this is dope.
Yeah.
I was like, no matter how I felt about this dude back in the day when we were competing against each other, I'm like, this is an amazing moment for this man.
Yeah.
You know, he gets to say, I competed. I was in the White House. I met the president. No matter who the president is, Bill Clinton, Obama, George Bush, Biden, Trump, you got to meet the most powerful man, supposedly, in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Pause.
Yeah, I'm just saying because I don't
Well,
think.
I will also say this. Like, I know that there have been moments in my MMA career that stand out from others, and I'm sure if you ask all of them, Justin Gaethje to Alex Pereira to everybody, win, lose, or draw, they will probably all say that that was like an echelon of importance and different feelings because of the venue. I fought in, you know, Shady Jack's biker bar, and I fought at Family Arena. And I'll tell you right now, same fight, right? Different mentality. And the venue does have
Shady Jacks.
Yeah, Shady Jacks.
throwback.
Shout out Shady
That's
Jacks, man. That was a
throwback,
good one. Great time, but
Oh, man.
not the best venue. But what I'm trying to say is like fights can happen anywhere, but where they happen matters. And I mean, ask any fighter if they wanted to fight at the UFC. At the White House for the UFC. No fighter would say no. No fighter.
Think about how many fighters wanted to be on that card
Yeah.
and they couldn't. You know, and I salute Chandler because I'm like, bro, he lost 3 fights in a row
Yeah, and to fight
and got
Rufi,
finished,
yeah.
but he talked his way onto that card.
Well,
There are better fighters that could have been on that card. I'm saluting him. I'm saluting him. I'm like, bro, like he lost 3 in a row, got finished all 3, and was on the White House card.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw that card beforehand, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, you got like 2 American boys. I knew Bo Nickel was gonna win, but you got the 2 American boys fighting. You know, Luffy, Michael Chandler had to fight Hoofy, and then Justin Gaethje had to fight Ilia Topuria. And I was like, "You're gonna have this White House event, and the Americans are gonna get fucking smoked, right?"
Yeah.
And for Justin, I mean, no offense to Michael Chandler, but you know, different styles of fights make for different fights. But for Justin Gaethje, I say this, that fight, in my opinion, made the night.
Oh, for sure.
That fight, like
made the
literally,
year.
literally,
That's the most American
that
thing.
was our WWE
Bro.
Rocky IV moment.
I was telling my wrestlers about this. I was like, that was a Rocky moment for
Yeah.
real. But he
But
wasn't
in
in Russia.
real.
He
But
wasn't in
real.
Russia, and it was real.
Yeah.
And he was like, Rocky? I was like, yeah, I ain't seen the Rocky movie.
You never seen Rocky IV?
Yeah,
Holy
but I was
shit,
like,
now I
dude,
feel old.
I was like, that was the most American moment. It
Bro,
was such an American moment that it was like,
I
this
didn't
had
go
to
to
be a
sleep
movie.
that night.
This-
I didn't go to sleep
like I said,
that night.
If I didn't see Taporia's face beat up the way it was, I would have thought this was scripted.
I didn't go to sleep that night. I was so like testosterone, patriotic.
Yes. Yeah,
And here's the thing about politics, and I'll say this: I genuinely do not care where you lie, whether it's blue, whether it's red, whether it's progressive, conservative. I really don't care. You have to have 2 things for certain. Number one, this is a North Star for all people outside of the U.S. as well. You need to want a better life for your kids than you had for yourself. So whatever decisions you need to make in that time to facilitate a better life for your kids at the detriment of yourself is the right course of action, whatever that is. If I am taking from me to give to them, regardless of what that circumstance is, that is the correct course. Second, patriotism used to have a connotation of bravery, excellence, and respect, honor. Because our politics have gotten so ugly, and because a divergence of thought has become so ostracized and attacked, the idea of patriotism is now synonymous with a political party, and I feel that that's actually detrimental to America as a whole. Mm-hmm. Patriotism is not exclusive to Republicans. You can be a Democrat and be patriotic. You can be a Republican and be patriotic. Where you fall in terms of political lines is irrespective of your love for this country. We might disagree, to my first point about like making life tomorrow better than today. We might disagree on what those actions are, but that North Star should be there, and we should have no questions that we truly love this country. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
You might disagree with me on the approach, but I at the very least know that, like, if EJ doesn't agree with me, I know that EJ wants, like, EJ is doing the same thing I'm doing. He is, in his own way, is trying to make the next generation better for, in whatever way he believes, so that even if we disagree, I don't question your, I might question your judgment, but I don't question your morals. Yeah. And now we've gotten to the point where we don't even consider judgment. We exclusively consider morals. And I think that that is truly a loss. Truly a loss.
My thing is, I don't understand how people can really say they hate this country. Now, not like who's running it, not like how things are being ran. I get that. I agree. Like, I don't identify.
If you lived outside of the U.S., I could.
Like,
certain countries, I could.
Like, I don't. Well, this is what I'm going to get into.
Sorry.
I've traveled, okay? And I truly believe, as somebody who's traveled all over the world, all right? I've been on almost every major continent except for Antarctica, okay? And I will tell people, as a child who was born to a 14-year-old mother who was in a foster home, my mom was in a foster home in East St. Louis, Illinois. She was 14 years old when she had me. I feel like I was born in a better situation than 90% of the planet. So, yes, I love that I was born in America. I feel blessed that I was born in an American country.
But those are two different things. To understand and to accept and to value the wealth and prosperity of a land is not the same as to acknowledge how someone could see it in a different light depending on the circumstances. So what I will say is equivalent. I think, listen, man, my parents immigrated here from Albania. My mom is buried here. My dad will be buried here. I will be buried here. Not in Albania, in America. So let that be known. I will end my life on this land. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. You know what I mean? Do I think that America holds within it the greatest potential of any country that has ever existed on the face of this earth? Yes. Do I think that also by that same blade, we can cut ourselves at the knees? Also, yes. And just because you are great does not mean you continue to be great. You have to stay. Yeah. It's what I tell my wrestlers. I do hard work over talent every time. Because I'll take the guy who's consistent and who's progressing and puts in effort. You cannot rest on your laurels. You cannot rest on what's happened. You cannot let victory defeat you, okay? Truth be told.
Yeah.
So you can acknowledge the fruits of this country. You can be passionate and patriotic about the rights and liberties that we have, the strides that this country has made. I always say that U.S. history is the most interesting history because in the short time frame, 250 years, to talk about the elapse of the things that they have overcome, not just slavery, not just emancipation, not just revolution, not just civil, like all of it, to get to where we're at today. Are we perfect? No. But are we greater than any other country ever? 100%. I think America, a country mile number 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will also say this. In the 30 years that I've lived in America, it's gotten worse exclusively.
No, I don't disagree with that.
Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
No, I get what you're saying. And
I think that's a shame as well.
The point
I think that's a shame as well.
Yeah, the point I'm making is everybody has something to complain about. And I'm just like, well, one, what are you doing to make it better? Okay.
Self-agency, EJ, and macro are two different things. I'm not gonna disagree on anything you're about to say because I already know what you're gonna say. The agency of the individual, the precursors that they have for their own life. You are in more control for yourself than any government agency. I do agree with you there. However, you can have two things be possible at the same time. You can listen to boomers talk about the country, and they are correct. And you can listen to millennials talk about the country, and they are correct as well. Both can be true, that this is the greatest nation in the world in decline.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You can say, I have
Okay.
I'm proud to be an American, and I want to be an American. I want my daughter to be an American. I want my grandchildren to be Americans. I think America is the greatest. The Declaration of Independence has been the greatest human invention ever. And you could say whatever you want about U.S. history, but no one has been more progressive than us. No one's tackled our history better than us. That being said, the future is not guaranteed. And do not rest on your laurels. So while it is one thing to be patriotic, be honest.
No, again. So
Sorry.
where I'm going with it is the criticism I got is how could you love this country when it's this?
That's wild.
With the faults. That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, yes, our country has its faults.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not perfect, but
as opposed to what? What country would you live in outside
and they could never answer that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, I could have been born anywhere.
Yep.
I was like, I was born in one of the worst situations in this country, and it's still better than most situations and the best situations in other countries. Okay? So, yes, I'm happy to be here. Okay? I am a proud American citizen. Like, yes, I love this place. I want this place to do better, be better, have better leadership. You know, do I trust either party? No. I'm not pro anyway. You know what I mean? And then, so back to the UFC card that I'm like saluting, I'm like, God bless America. Man, this was great for my country. Like the world, like when I saw the reaction of like fans from all over the world, when they talked about the White House card.
Epic.
They said this was the greatest thing they had ever seen. You know, they was like, man, we hate Americans, but they really put it on it. And I was like, yeah.
Or they didn't even hate Americans. They were just like envious.
Yeah,
you know, I mean?
and I was like, man, that's great. I'm like, yeah, they saw our country do this, our country do this. Then I was like, and it was my sport.
Yeah.
I was an MMA guy. This wasn't a basketball game at the White House. This wasn't a football game at the White House.
And to have wrestlers dominate.
Yes.
Bo Nickel and Justin Gaethje, who are they?
Wrestlers. And again, like I said, I knew 3 people personally on that card. Could have been 4 if Kobe had accepted the fight with Bo Nickel.
I didn't know that Colby got offered that. That's wild.
That was the last fight he was offered. And it was for that card.
Good thing he said no. Bo is scary. Bo is scary, dude. Bo is scary.
I don't know. But
sorry, Colby. I'm sure you're a great guy.
That's what it is, you know. That's why they would have fought the fight and whatever happened.
Whatever happened.
Yeah. But no, I was like I said, I was just proud as an MMA guy and a guy who loves his country. I was like, this was one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
Can I go a step further? This is going to give me a lot of flack. I think that people that fixate on the woes and hatred of a nation because of their woes are truly low IQ. Because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think 2 things can be true at the same time. I think that everything you said is absolutely factual. That given your current given not your current circumstances, but given the circumstances of your history, had you been born in any other country, the outcomes would have been different. I always said this about America. America did not give me anything. America did not do anything for me in the sense of like give to me. What America did was offer me the opportunity to be the best version of myself. And that is something that 99.9% of humans that have ever existed do not have.
Yeah.
Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Jew, Muslim, Christian, doesn't matter. 99.9% of humans that have ever existed do not have the luxury that we have. I acknowledge that. The other thing that I will acknowledge is that for people that, you know, live paycheck to paycheck and all these other things, to blame people on Mount on high for that circumstance, they are much more capable of engineering a different path in their life at the micro level than any government official or any businessman or what have you will ever have an effect on them. So at the end of the day, I will say this. If you are unhappy with where you're at in life, in any other country, this is where I'm going to get flack. I live by this fucking quote. In any other country, if you're a loser, if you don't make money, if you're economically bound or anything like that, I have pity for you. Like I have sympathy. Hey man, I'm so sorry. If you're poor in America, that's on you. If you're unhappy in America, that's on you.
Yeah.
If you don't have a wife, if you're not there with family, if you're not there with your business or your money or whatever, that's on you. You were given every opportunity to succeed and still failed. Don't blame the system. Blame yourself. I will say that. Now, couple that with, is it getting harder? Yes. But even if you were to extenuate the circumstances that make it harder by 2x, it's still the greatest country in the world in terms of opportunity. And that's the thing. It's opportunity. No guarantees. No circumstances are presented to you with certainty. But what you do have is ability. No one will step in your way for success or failure. I'm sure you have many failures, and I'm sure you have many successes. And when you failed, no one saved you. And when you succeeded, no one came in to take your thunder. That was all on you. That's the beauty of America. So shut the fuck up when you win, and shut the fuck up when you lose, and you're going to be happy. What do I know, though? I'm just a fucking foreign man from a foreign land. I wasn't even born here, dog. So, EJ, 2 hours, 40 minutes.
I'm good with that.
Before we put a cap on it, dog, I want to say this. I loved this. Genuinely. There are podcasts. The reason why I do this is because I find such a joy in the conversations that I have with the people. And this episode is a example of that feeling. I genuinely enjoyed the last 3 hours.
Good.
Thank you so much for coming.
It was fluid.
Yeah. Anything you want to end with? Anything you want to put out there? The floor is yours.
I feel like we said everything we wanted to say. It was great, man. Glad you had me back.
Fuck the haters.
Yeah, fuck the haters. God bless America. And hopefully next wrestling season is a great season. I'm gonna see you there, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, man.
God bless.
Yes, sir.
EJ Brooks,
Yes,
part
sir.
2. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.